Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. And Rob's playing videos. I am, of course, your host, John Campea.
Does he even know where he's at?
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know how that happened.
We're at work, damn it. We're at work.
You listen to me, you Star Wars freako. Get your shit together.
He got really comfortable.
What? 30 seconds to air. Let me tell you my life story.
It's true.
It's already one of those days. Hey, guys, welcome to the show. My name is John Campea. This is the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. And listen, it is a glorious day to have you, our international friends, gather around to talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV streaming, all sorts of good stuff. And sitting right over here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, John. I was excited to talk about this movie I haven't seen yet today. And
We've seen 1/6 of it.
It's true. It's true.
You've seen 1/6 of Doctor Strange.
Can you stop? We did. We saw the first 20 minutes, which I loved.
I did too.
I loved it. And you loved it.
And
I
sitting
did
beside
love it.
him is, of course, Chris Carr. Chris, how are you today?
I'm doing so great. I needed comfort food this morning, so I got pancakes that I shoveled in my face right before I sat down. So good.
I'm surprised there's not crumbs still on the lips. She really did. Ube pancakes.
Ube pancakes.
They smell good.
I inhaled those. I shotgunned a pancake.
And sitting.
You can watch all the footage of that on Chris Carr's
On Campea
OnlyFans,
After
baby.
Dark, you can see Chris Carr's mukbangs.
Wow, this show's going
It's gonna
on.
be a good
Premium
show.
members, we got a full video of that.
Sitting over there is Ray Ora. Ray, he's going to be joining you guys in the live chat today.
I got one thing to say. If you're ever in a conversation with Rob and he says these two words, I guarantee 90% he's not listening to you. So if he ever says it's true, he doesn't care about you. You're nothing to him. Just a little tip. I just don't want any. I'm just kidding, Rob.
It's true.
It's true. It's damn true.
I hate it.
I love you, Ray.
All right, guys. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break it up into two parts. In the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some predetermined topics. Then in the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. So here's how that happens. Number one, you got to be watching the show live. So when we get close to the end of the first or of the final main topic today, I will let you guys know that I'm opening up the super chats. And then you guys will have probably about 90 seconds to 2 minutes to fire in a comment, question, observation, whatever you'd like to send in. And then we've got to turn them off once it all gets filled up. So that's how you do that there. So keep your guys' eyes open. Be ready to do that when it's time. All right, guys. Let's start getting into some stuff here, and we're going to start off with an off the top, and that off the top is this. Let's try this again. Ray, what day is it today?
Game day.
Game day?
It's the finale of Moon Knight tonight, which I would have been excited for the finale of Moon Knight had I not seen episode 5. But after watching episode 5, I am extremely excited to see this. Episode 5 of Moon Knight, with maybe the exception of 1 or 2 episodes of WandaVision, is probably the best episode of in the very young lifespan of Disney Plus Marvel content right now. It was absolutely fantastic. They did something totally different from what they normally do and stuff like this. It was great to see. And so it's left me thinking two things. Number one, my God, I cannot wait for the finale. It's going to be so great. And number two, how the actual F are they going to actually wrap this show up in 50 minutes?
Dude, I don't know.
Or however much they've got left. I mean, however long they make this up. I don't know. Maybe we'll turn on. We'll see tonight's running episode, 42 minutes, 51 minutes, 131 minutes. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a super long episode. I'm doubting that, though. But still, here we are. We're heading into the finale of it. And, you know, we saw last week the end, apparently, of Steven. Mark no longer needed Steven. He achieved balance. Now, so the first question I have for you guys, and then I'm going to ask you about your general feelings about tonight, but my first question for you guys is this. Does Steven reappear at some point in the season finale of Moon Knight?
Yes.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, so that whole achieving balance thing was just really not that important?
I think later on we're going to see him come back, though. There'll be some time for just Mark to be on his own, but I think Steven is.
There is
part
only
of
one
him.
episode left.
Sometime in the episode, John.
Okay.
So, but I think that Mark or Steve was a very lovable character, and I think we
Yeah.
need to have some closure with that situation too, because that's who we first started our journey with. So we need some balance in that storytelling.
Also, in the comics, it's Mark Spector who, in the original incarnation, created those personas. Like he created Stephen Grant, he created Jake Lockley. So I could see that the revelation of what's been going on, and I'm not saying I know this, but I think this might have been all an extended. I still believe that we're going to find out that a lot of what we've seen isn't real. And what's been happening is that Mark Spector has been hovering in the afterlife, and Khonshu ultimately is going to resurrect him permanently. And I think what's been going on is very much like an occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge or like Jacob's Ladder or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but in the comics, and then when they later weighed into this, that Khonshu did resurrect him. And they've talked about it in the show. They resurrect him. But I think that all of this is sort of this dreamy afterlife business. And I would imagine that the end of this show resurrects Mark Spector as a fully formed Moon Knight. And what we've been seeing is the journey that he needed to go through to get there.
See, when this show started, and once we got through the first 1, 2, and 3 episodes, and you had that theory, I didn't quite buy into it, but I was like, okay, but I could see that happening. Now that we're going to the final episode, I don't see it happening. I think everything we've seen has been actually real. I think everything we've seen has been as Mark has perceived it. Now we'll find out. There's only one more episode to go, but I mean, now I really feel like, because I think if they were going to do something like that, you reveal that in episode 4 or maybe 3. Well, to not really reveal that to the audience until the very end is going to have a little bit. Now I was a little bit young. I'm dating myself here, but it's kind of like a Dallas season finale where what was the name of the character?
JR when he got shot.
No. It was the other one. The one season that the season ends, and at the season finale, the character wakes up and the entire season was just a dream.
It was Bobby. Wasn't it Bobby Ewing? It was JR's.
Sure.
It was.
Sure. I was a little bit too young, but yes, something like that. I remember that.
But you know what? I should amend what I'm saying. I think this all has been happening, but it's been happening not maybe necessarily in our plane of reality. Put it that way. So it has been going on.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. Well, so where's your, now that we're heading into the final episode here, Rob, I know I will start with you on this because nobody on the planet, and I mean this honestly, nobody on the planet, including Oscar Isaac's parents, were more excited for Moon Knight coming than you. We've only got one episode to go. How are you feeling about how has the show done? I understand there's still one episode still to go, but really up until this point, how has the show done and how has it delivered or not for you?
Okay. This would not have been at all the Moon Knight show that I would have mounted if I was a show. I would not have made this show at all. That said, I've found what they've made to be really compelling. I've loved watching it. I've really had a good time. I've really enjoyed, even Moon Knight, summon the suit. I mean, that's kind of weird. That was not what I would be expecting, but I loved it, to me. And to me, as someone who's enjoyed the character, this is this is an amalgamation of things, but I've really enjoyed it. And I think it's because I could watch Oscar Isaac. That guy, especially
after the last episode.
That last episode was, that was just a wildly entertaining hour of television. And it was really compelling viewing. If they didn't call this show Moon Knight and they called it, say, Gods of Egypt, I would be like, this is a dope ass show.
It's so much better than Gods of Egypt.
The hell, you shut your mouth. You shut your mouth. What is it with people in Gods of Egypt? Would you like to borrow my 3D Blu-ray?
No.
Okay.
No, I really
would.
You
No, not in the least.
It'll work in your PlayStation 5.
No. I just as soon borrow your underwear, and that's probably not happening either. So, anyway, Chris, what
segue.
What about you?
I'm asking.
I mean, how is with? Granted, there's still one more episode to go, but
Yeah.
how has this show been for you? Has it lived up to your expectations or hope? It's obviously been different than what a lot of us thought, but how has it performed for you?
I mean, it's exceeded my expectations. I was really, cautiously optimistic about this because we had Oscar Isaac in here. We knew that this was a very well-researched show as well in terms of how they were treating this personality disorder and everything. And, you know, I trust in Kevin Feige. We've covered this. And I trust the vision of the Marvel Universe as a whole. But some of the Marvel shows have been a little lackluster as of late.
Right.
So, you know, that cautious optimism. But this is delivered. This has been so fun and bananas and bonkers. And just when I think something is so wild and they can't top it, they do. The action is incredible. The aesthetics on this show are magnificent. The acting is just sublime. I've really, really loved this. I didn't think something could top WandaVision, and it's really neck and neck for me right now.
Yeah, I still have WandaVision comfortably ahead of it, but it's easily in the second spot there for me.
Yeah.
So guys, question is for you. Heading into the finale of Moon Knight tonight, what are your expectations? How has the show delivered for you so far? What are you expecting to come out of this final episode? We are going to do a Moon Knight open spoiler discussion tomorrow night that will, for us, late afternoon. Make sure you guys tune in and join us for that because we're going to talk about not just the final episode, but probably our overall impressions of the show as well. Make sure you join us for that. But whatever you guys are feeling about it, jump on down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move into our main topics today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with them. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, Chris, what is our first main topic today?
This one comes from Dimitri Scoboletti. Hello, John and crew. This week marks the 20th anniversary of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Dear God.
I
From all
know.
the way back from 2002. Crazy. What are your thoughts on this film's importance to the superhero genre? And do you have any fond memories of the movie? Thanks and keep up the great work, guys.
It is so crazy. It is absolutely nuts to think about Spider-Man being 20 years old. Today's the official 20th anniversary of the movie. Now, as far as the special memories, I've told this story before that it was back probably a month or two before the movie opened. Star Wars Celebration was happening in Indianapolis, and we were there screening our movie. And we got invited with me, a buddy of mine who was at Lucasfilm, the vice president of Lucasfilm, one of the directors of Blair Witch Project, and a couple of other of us got invited to go to this late night private screening at this movie theater where it was just the group of us to watch this Spider-Man movie that was coming out. And that was my first exposure to the movie. And so I'll always remember that. That was a great night, great fun. And to see Spider-Man swinging around in the city, something you never thought. Because I remember as a really young child, there was that one TV attempt at Spider-Man and something else. It's like, yeah, that never lived up to what was in your imagination, right? But seeing that there, that was incredible. As far as its importance, you know, we often go back to, I will often talk about, and a lot of producers in Hollywood today who make the big blockbusters, including Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight producer, talk about that first X-Men movie as being the movie that made the Hollywood producers and studios go, wait a minute, we can make a movie like that? We can do a comic book movie, not just have it schlocky and colorful and whiz-bang. I mean, Blade had come out before that, but it didn't have that impact. It didn't make the producers and the studios go, huh, but when X-Men came out, you know, they all said, this is something we can do, which that was kind of the birth of the modern era of comic book movies. But I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for 2.5 years later, for Spider-Man to come out and nail it as well, I mean, it's fine that one movie comes out, but it's not until you have like 2 or 3 in a row that you actually start a trend. You start, you know, a new momentum for something, right? Spider-Man comes out about a year before X-Men 2 comes out. And it just really solidified what that first X-Men movie had done. And I don't feel it's hyperbole in the least to say, in as much as I say that, listen, we would not have today's comic book movie golden era that we have right now were it not for X-Men. But I also feel very confidently saying the same thing about the Spider-Man movie. Had Spider-Man not come out and followed up strongly from what that first X-Men film had done, if it had not come out and wowed the audiences and made us believe that a man can swing, going back to the old, okay, maybe that's okay, phrasing, I get it. But if you're going back to the original,
I was going to say, wow, John.
You go to the original.
A lot of revelations
Superman
on this
movie.
episode.
If you go back to the original Superman, you'll believe a man can fly. You'll believe a teenage kid with a web and whatever and his spider powers can swing through the city. Like, you believed it, you embraced it, and we all loved Toby. Toby is Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff. If it was not for that movie, I also believe we wouldn't be where we are today. So I really don't think you can overemphasize the importance of this first Spider-Man movie. And I think that gets reflected in the fact that one of the biggest pops, I mean, not as big as On Your Left and, Avengers Assemble, but one of the biggest pops you're ever going to hear in movie theaters is when that portal opens and in comes walking Tobey Maguire. I mean, he is still completely beloved as this character today. So I completely believe that you cannot overemphasize the importance of this film, the ramifications of this film, the influence this film has had, and you still see its influence even in Spider-Man movies today and beyond. So yeah, man, happy birthday to Spider-Man, 20 effing years old. Yeah. Unbelievable this movie is that old. And yeah, give it its due. Rob, when you think of Spider-Man, any special memories and how do you set the context for its place in film history right now?
Well, I think you did a pretty good job of setting that up. When X-Men 1 came out, obviously I'd gone to film school with Bryan Singer, so I had known him. And when it came out, I was pretty shocked by it opening in Auschwitz, But what sold me on X-Men 1 was there's a conversation early on when Charles Xavier and Magneto are having a conversation. And Magneto's in the foreground. Are you in my mind, Charles?
We're the future, Charles.
And
not them.
It was done. It was so adult, and it was so not like what you'd think a comic book movie was. But there was a maturity level to it. So, and it might have been a one-off. Lawrence Schuler Donner, who produced X-Men, was not a fan of the shape the movie was taking while they were making it because she thought it would be more comic booky.
Right.
The thing about Spider-Man was, it was so, the colors, if you look at it, the colors pop off the screen. It was the antithesis of what Bryan Singer's X-Men was. But when you saw that, like you said, everyone loved Toby. The first half hour of that film is so wildly entertaining as he's learning how to use his powers. And there was that controversy like, well, why does he have organic web shooters? Peter Parker made his web shooters.
Right.
But I liked that he had organic web shooters.
And we wouldn't have had that great joke in No Way Home had they not gone that way.
Yeah, no. And I think that, remember the lead up to that, they had to take it away, but there was a great extended teaser that they shot that ended with a bank robbery, and it ended with webbing between the two twin towers and the helicopter.
Stuck in the middle of it.
Yeah, stuck in the middle of it. They had to take, and I remember seeing that, being totally excited about it. But I remember thinking, the X-Men could have been a one-off, but like you pointed out, it was a different studio, Sony, Columbia, whatever, they had made it. And with Fox making X-Men, Sony, now we talk about putting everybody together. But at the time, X-Men was not a fluke. Like you said, Sony proved that multiple studios could make comic book movies.
Yeah.
With different personnel, different directors, different approaches, and they could both be wildly successful. And I think that was those two movies. And then X-Men 2 comes along the next year. Now you had 3 movies that were successful. So this was not a fluke. This was the end. This was the beginning of the new age of comic book films. So we're now 20 years in. And so it's appropriate. We have a Doctor Strange movie opening this week, directed by the same man who directed Spider-Man.
It's his week, man. It's Sam Raimi's
you've
week.
got 20 years of Sam bookending this entire juggernaut that has become, especially Marvel. He didn't go do DC. It's a Marvel movie. So Raimi went, and Feige worked on this first Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was one of the producers.
One of the producers. So I think, look, this is the culmination you look back 20 years and you see the beginnings of it, and now look where we've come. And I would say it's a success story and for no one else better than us. We, the audience, we're the ones that have won.
Chris, you're looking back at it now. I think you were just 22 when this movie came out.
22?
just
How
kidding.
dare you?
But when
Wow, you really wow. 42.
The chat's going to be like, she's the other Chris Carr again.
so, like, when you look, do you have any fond memories of watching this movie at any point in your life? And how do you see its position and its importance or lack thereof in film history and where we are now?
Oh, man. I mean, I remember going with my friends to go to the Tinseltown Theater in the Woodlands, Texas. And we went and saw this movie. And I was so excited because I was the only nerd in my friend group. Rob and I have talked about this a bunch. We would have been best friends in high school. And so it was finally... This was when superheroes were becoming part of the zeitgeist, right? And all of a sudden, I had cool information to share with people. I was able to talk about comic books in a way that I didn't get mocked for, which was very exciting. And I'm so glad Rob touched on this too, because, we had X-Men, we had Blade, but they were these kinds of, let's try to ground a superhero story, and seeing those vibrant colors and seeing something that felt like it just was ripped from the pages of a comic book was so fulfilling to somebody who still was like walking around with their X-Men trading cards. So I just love this movie so much. And it was just like, as a teenager too, like the upside down kiss and everything was just
still
like
completely
the most
one of the most
romantic
iconic
thing you've ever
comic movie
seen,
shots
right?
ever.
Oh, the fact that MJ just knows at the end because of that kiss. Oh, it's so good. It's such a great, great film. And what a wonderful full circle moment for Sam too, to have this new, what I'm hoping to be excellent film. We're going to get into it later, but to have this kind of moment 20 years out is really, really
And
special.
right on the heels of another Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
That, as
Yeah.
well.
You know what else, John? Two things. The fact that X-Men 2 and Spider-Man 2 exceeded, in most
Their
cases,
originals?
the originals.
Yeah.
That, if you didn't know already, the fact that those two movies outperformed the originals and became as beloved as they did. I mean, X-Men 2 and Spider-Man 2 are still considered two of the finest.
Comic book movies ever made, yeah.
That showed that it wasn't a fluke.
Yeah.
It was a trend, and it was something that could be aspired to. So, I mean, I think that it really did kick it off. I just can't believe I'm that old.
20 years. Guys, the question is for you. It's the 20th anniversary of the release of the original Spider-Man. Do you guys, number one, were you even alive when it came out? But if so, do you guys have any fond memories when you saw it? How do you see its place in comic book movie history? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. You know what? Spider-Man may be sticky, but you know what doesn't have to be itchy? Your balls. And so we want to thank, I don't know what kind of segue that is, I just made up off the top of my head. We want to thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our good friends at Manscaped. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code Campea at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. And a big thank you to our friends at Manscaped for making this episode of the John Campea Show possible. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 2, shall we? Chris, what is our second main topic today?
This is from Geralt of Riverdale. The drama surrounding Fast 10 just keeps getting more interesting. There was a story in The Hollywood Reporter that there was a massive clash between Lynn, the studio, and Diesel, and that the budget had blown up to $300 million. The first Fast and Furious movie was made for $38 million, just for comparison. At this point, can they even make Fast 11 with all the drama making 10?
All right, thanks a lot for saying that in. And look, what is beyond dispute is that Fast and the Furious is one of the most successful movie franchises ever. I mean, that can't be debated or argued about.
Billions, John.
Billions, capital B, billions upon billions of dollars. I think it's hovering around $6 billion that this franchise has made. And even coming out of the pandemic era, the last one, as crappy as it was, made over $700 million. I mean, when that's your bad day at the office, you're doing okay. Now, of course, I wasn't a fan of the most recent Fast and the Furious, even though I'm a big fan of the franchise. Now, you're right. There has been a lot of drama going on and surrounding the Fast and the Furious franchise. As a matter of fact, just yesterday we were talking about on the show about, Justin Lin, a longtime director of the Fast and Furious franchise, finally said, I've had enough, and he left the project. The New York Daily News put out a report saying they spoke to an inside person that said that part of the problem was that he was frustrated with Vin Diesel, that Vin Diesel had been showing up unprepared, not knowing his lines, showing up late. Don't be late. To quote James Earl Jones from one of the greatest man movies of all time, Best of the Best, don't be late. Don't ever be late. And he would show up late. And according to the report, that he would show up out of shape. And so that's frustrating alone. Now we're also hearing from other reports that he'd just been having enough. Justin Lin just had enough with all the notes. Apparently, obviously Vin Diesel being kind of the main steering force of the franchise, he would put in a lot of creative input, whereas Justin Lin wrote the script, and apparently he just got tired of it. This is a report that comes to us from the good folks over at Screen Rant. Do we have a graphic for that there? This comes to us from Screen Rant. It writes the following. In a new report from The Hollywood Reporter, the issues that have plagued Fast 10 were brought to light. It highlights everything that led up to Lin's exit, which includes a ballooning budget that is reportedly now at $300 million and was pushed to that point due to cast salaries. Universal has apparently spent well over $100 million of the Fast 10 budget just on the cast of the film. Lin's abrupt exit didn't help matters either, as it was reported that the shuffle to find a replacement was costing the studios $1 million per day just to keep everyone on standby before they could get someone behind the camera. In comparison, Fast and Furious 9's budget was reported to be $200 million. And then they came out and made the next one for $300 million. And apparently, the people around Fast and Furious is just treating this as a money party for all their buddies. When I come be in our movie, make a big Universal signing some big checks, everybody. Big checks. So come on board and have a good time. Listen, you go on to read more into the report, and there's a lot in there about Justin Lin talking about the fact that, Justin Lin thought he had a scene ready to go, blah, blah, blah. And then Vin Diesel would come and say, well, no, we want to make changes here and blah, blah, blah. Or that the scripts would go to Vin, and Vin would say, I don't want to do that action sequence. That one doesn't work for me. And then Justin Lin had to make adjustment. Then the studio would come in and have notes, which of course is a lot of money at stake. Of course they will. And then finally it ended, according to the report in the Hollywood Reporter, there was a notes meeting with Vin, Justin, and one or two of the studio reps that ended in a lot of shouting, and Justin Lin walking out and saying, I'm done. And apparently saying, my mental health is not worth this. Or this is not worth my mental health, I should say. Ooh. Saying this is not worth my mental health. And he walked out, probably walking away, like it said in the report, from $10 to $20 million. And that's how frustrated he was. But let's circle back around here. Let's move away from the drama of this, and let's circle back around here to that number. $300 million. In the words of Chris Carr, for why? For why? Why do you need $300 million to make this movie, and over $100 million just on the cast? Now, to put this into context, this will put this Fast and the Furious movie amongst one of the most expensive films in history. So we've got the most expensive film, which is on Stranger Tides. That's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Cost $379 million. To this day, the most expensive film ever made. Then Age of Ultron cost $365 million. Endgame cost $356. Infinity War cost $325 million. Another Pirates of the Caribbean movie came in at $300 million. Justice League made $300 million. And to put this in context, Justice League cost $300 million to make, but that was partially because they practically reshot half the movie.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. And then the budget ballooned up to $300 million. Fast 10 right now is on par with that Justice League that is a superhero, visual effects heavy movie that had to go back in for half of the reshoots, and it still is costing just as much money. And then you got movies like Solo coming in behind it at $275 million. So this will put it tied. If it just comes in at $300 million, this makes the Fast 10 movie tied for the 5th most expensive film ever made, tied with another superhero film that had to do massive reshoots. So this is ridiculous. This is one of these problems that Hollywood, like this spending that Hollywood's made, especially on a car chase movie. I mean, granted, Fast and Furious has become a lot more. I granted that. But still, at the end of the day, $300 million? Hey, maybe instead of Jason Momoa, and don't get me wrong, I love Jason Momoa. I got very excited when I heard he was in this movie. I did. But maybe instead of Jason Momoa, who's probably commanding 10 plus million to be in this movie, why don't you go with somebody else who's really good and might cost 4? I mean, I don't know. It just seems, so when you look at all the drama going on, directors first of all, Dwayne Johnson walking away. That's history now, but still, that's relevant to the conversation. Dwayne Johnson walking away. You got the director, a long-term director on this franchise, walking away. You got budgets ballooning up to $300 million. I will tell you what, I'm going to go out on a limb right now. I don't know that 11's going to happen. I mean, unless there's some really big, significant come-to-Jesus moment for Vin Diesel, the producers on this movie, whatever, I have a feeling Universal is going to start looking at this through a much more intense microscope and going, what are we really doing here? Now, of course, winning cures everything, right? Fast 10 comes out and makes $1.3 billion. Nobody will care. Nobody will care. It's all just going to be whispers in the wind. All this drama will be instantly forgotten, and none of the studio people will care because it made $1.3 billion. But after Fast 9, is this going to make $1.3 billion? I don't think so. And I say this as a Fast and the Furious fan. So I don't know, Rob, you're hearing about all this drama. You're hearing about budgets, all that kind of stuff. What about this is standing out to you the most here?
Well, first of all, the wild irresponsibility of it all. I mean, you know, I've often said, John, how I'm a huge fan of the way Hollywood productions work, because when they work effectively, they're a thing to behold. Because the people that are working on films, it's like watching a crack military team who really knows what they're doing, or a great Tom Brady-led, I hate to say this, Patriots winning a Super Bowl or something.
Goat, baby. Goat.
But
7 rings.
But like this, when you get to a set, especially on a huge movie that requires incredible logistics and location work and stunts and visual effects, this stuff is pre-planned. So it goes off without a hitch. When you have people deciding, hey, we're a week in and we're going to change action scenes, and I don't like this and I'm not going to shoot that. And I'm like, man, no wonder Justin Lin probably walked away, because he's responsible.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day,
It's his name on it.
It's his name on it, and he can't do his job. His job is to make sure that he shows up on set every day and makes his day. Meaning he's got a scheduled shot list. This is what we're shooting. And when the people that are supposed to be your collaborators, Vin Diesel, who's a producer, and your lead, if he's coming out to you and saying, let's change this, and I don't like this action scene, and I'm like, bruh, this should have been done in pre-production.
Yep.
Why we're doing this now, it's wildly irresponsible. It's the worst kind of filmmaking. And you know what? He did. The only power you really have in Hollywood is the power to say no. Mm-hmm. It's the power to say no. He's already made a movie that, you know, he's made some very bankable films. I would have probably walked away too, because if this is what's happening in week 1, well, what's going to happen in week 20?
And
or
he's
week
and
30?
he's been here for a number of films already, so he knows how this
5.
goes. Yeah.
And I think that, you know, this is the kind of movie that the studio, when Justin Lin walked, I would have pulled the plug. That's
That's a
when
lot of money. On
I
the
know,
line,
but that's
though.
when you blink and you go, you put it on your as a producer and star. You blame Vin Diesel and you say, you know what? We're pulling the plug unless you shape up. This is when somebody needs to step up, and there's nobody to step up. There's nobody to step up here. Somebody needed to step up and put the brakes on. Somebody needed to do that, and nobody did. And look where we're at. You know, they're spending $1 million a day. I mean, I'm sure
waiting, sitting around waiting,
and talking to their insurance company. Who's their production insurance? And their production insurance, are they going to get reimbursed? I mean, it's a mess. And it's the worst. It is the nightmare scenario in any Hollywood production.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, you're hearing about all this, like the Justin Lin drama, the budget drama, all this kind of stuff. What parts of this is standing out to you? What's your perception of this?
So I'm not familiar with the franchise, as you know, John.
Yes. You did see Hobbs and Shaw.
I saw Hobbs and Shaw, the only film you need to see in this franchise, I'm sure. In the last one, they went to space. So are they going to literally go there with Elon Musk this time? Is that why we need so much money? We're just doing practical effects this time? I don't understand this. As an actor who has been used to drop a price tag many a time, I'm with you on why are we spending so much money in that regard on actors. I understand these are all bankable, wonderful actors who've been part of this franchise and made this franchise, but that seems like a lot of cheddar for some people. And then also, correct me if I'm wrong too, because I know back in November, they were talking about how they were filming 10 and 11 simultaneously. Is that...
Or they were looking at
They were looking into doing that?
back to back.
Okay.
I think so.
I was wondering because then if they are already making two films at the same time, that's an even bigger budget issue.
Well, because on that video that Vin Diesel had come out with Justin Lin, he was specifically saying, we're shooting fast 10.
Okay.
We're shooting fast 10.
All right.
So it sounds like at least there's going to be some kind of buffer there.
I didn't know if they were just like, we're doing this like Lord of the Rings because it's that prestigious and we'll just do it canonically and in an order. But once again, I need to watch these movies. Didn't they, again, don't know. Did they start getting good at 5? That's what everyone tells me. I know you want me to watch Tokyo Drift.
I thought they turned well, some people will tell you that it's been good from 1.
Yes.
But I will tell you the truth.
Vin's not even in the first, in 2 and 3.
Vin's not in, well, he makes an appearance in 3. He makes a quick cameo in
Okay.
3. But for me, who didn't really like 1, 2, or 3, for me, the franchise started to turn around in 4.
Okay.
That's where I went, you know what? This one wasn't bad. And then 5 I loved. And 6 I loved.
But
and
these are all the
7
ones with
I
Lin
loved.
then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He started with 3.
That concerns me that a bunch of the really bankable films here were his work.
He's walked. But
Yeah.
I think one of the things people have to understand, our audience has to understand about these kinds of franchises, is stars have salary bumps built into their contracts.
yes, as
This is true.
franchises progress.
As franchises progress, that's why a lot of television shows have to end after 7 seasons, because they become the salaries for the stars and even your secondary characters, they get too cost prohibitive and the return on investment's impossible to achieve because the salaries based on their performance bonuses and how long things have gone, they just become too expensive. This is 10 movies in. So, and these movies from 4 on have performed quite well. You know, this is a $1 billion franchise club. This is a couple of them have made-
Tyrese and Ludacris are making money in this movie that they should not make in any other movie they were in. I like Tyrese and Ludacris in these films. I
And
do.
they're great in
But because it's that one-
these movies.
Yeah, I like them in these movies, but they're going to get paid for this movie numbers they will never get paid in their career for anything
Right.
else.
And that's problematic. I mean, it you know what you want to do, and look, everybody gets what we can, when we can, how we can. I just think that cooler head should have prevailed.
Guys, the question is for you. What do you make of this? There's more behind the scenes drama with Fast 10 than we even knew about. Apparently, it's going to come in at like around $300 million or more dollars, making it one of the most expensive films in history. What should they have done? What can they do at this point? Maybe we're just like, who the hell cares? Because if this thing makes over $1 billion, nobody going to care because winning cures everything. But can the next one make over $1 billion? What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys, with that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. Chris, what is our third main topic today?
Our third topic comes from Box Office Fan. Well, looks like the movie count for the MCU films will be higher overseas as the Ms. Marvel series is getting edited into theater films. Yes, more than one for overseas release. John, what do you think of Disney editing its Disney Plus shows and releasing them to theaters as films?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in. And I'll tell you what, this is really neat. I really like this story.
I do too.
So for those of you who may not know, that in Pakistan, they don't have Disney Plus yet. There's still markets out there that don't have it. And one of the markets that obviously for many reasons, I mean, if you're going to make a movie about the formation of hockey and the rise of Wayne Gretzky, Canadians are going to be really damn interested in that thing. You want to see that in Canada. I mean, so for Ms. Marvel, you know, a lot of fans in Pakistan have been really looking forward to seeing this, but they don't have Disney Plus. One of the directors of the series got on social media to let the world know that they're going to be playing Ms. Marvel in movie theaters. This is something that comes to us from the folks over at the Tribune, the Express Tribune, who wrote the following. Big announcement. Shireen, one of the directors of the series, penned on Instagram alongside, now I'm going to try my best with the names, Shazil Azim's artwork of the show. I have exciting news to share. An Eid present for Pakistan. We are bringing Ms. Marvel to theaters across the country. Marvel Studios' Ms. Marvel will be released in cinemas in Pakistan, she said. The Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios have a special announcement to make. Marvel Studios' new original series, Ms. Marvel, will be released exclusively in cinemas, only in Pakistan, through their license, HKC Entertainment. And they're going to release them, I believe, they're going to release them in 3 different parts. So 3 movies, essentially. Episodes 1 and 2 put into one kind of movie format in mid-June. Episodes 3 and 4 in late June, and episodes 5 and 6 at the beginning of July. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head how that correlates with the release dates that we're getting here.
Yeah.
But there have been many people that have talked about this. The idea of taking one of these Marvel Disney Plus shows and putting it in a theatrical format. And, you know, for some people, I think watching maybe Moon Knight as a 2-movie event could be a lot of fun. Moon Knight Part 1 and Part 2. Maybe WandaVision was a little bit long. But, you know, taking things like that and putting in, this is something that a lot of fans have talked about and speculated about over the last, year and a half, 2 years or so, about something that maybe Marvel could do. There is, of course, one big asterisk here, which is the part that we mentioned at the beginning. Pakistan doesn't have Disney Plus. Therefore, it is a market that a lot of people would love to see it, but they have no avenue to see it. And in that particular specific case, Disney can look at it and go, let's put it in theaters there. Because by putting it in theaters there, they're not actually losing any subscriptions to Disney Plus. And that's the big catch here. The reason we're not going to see, because I had some people write to me this morning saying, hey, if they're doing this for Ms. Marvel, could we see them do this here as well sometime? I'd love to go see Moon Knight in a theater or whatever. I agree, but it ain't going to happen. Because here, the whole reason we got to remember that Disney makes Moon Knight to get Disney Plus subscribers. They make Falcon and the Winter Soldier to get Disney Plus subscribers. It would be counterintuitive for them to say, let's put it in movie theaters and give people a way to watch it that is contradictory to our goals, which is to get them to sign up to Disney Plus and to watch it there. Pakistan is a very unique set of circumstances because, again, they don't have Disney Plus. Disney's got nothing to lose by putting on the big screen there. But I got to say, sign me up as somebody who'd be into it. I would love to walk into a movie theater and watch some of this stuff, particularly something like Moon Knight or whatever. But anyway, I think this is great for our fellow film brothers and sisters over in Pakistan. They're going to get to see a movie like this, one that probably means a lot to them on the big screen there. I think this is great. Chris, you hear about this. Number one, is it understandable that Disney would make this move for them there? Should the people there be excited for it? And do you think them doing this maybe at least offers the possibility that we maybe could see that in the North American market too?
Yeah, so I think, one, they absolutely should have done this. This is great to have this character be seen in Pakistan is very, very important, right? This is wonderful, wonderful stuff. And because, like you were saying, they're not going to lose subscribers, this is definitely the move here. I would love to see this character on the big screen. That trailer had such John Hughes energy that
I loved it.
I'm just all here for it. And I really like this character. I know Anne's a big fan of her too. So seeing that image that was just comic book, just ripped from the pages was so good. I do think this could show possibility, or at least promise, for later on down the road, screenings of shows that have already existed, right? That aren't being released recently. Like Moon Knight being in a theater this week, we wouldn't do that. But we could take something like WandaVision and have, hey, at the El Capitan this week, we're going to have several screenings of WandaVision broken up, and we'll come do that. A theater that I like to go to back in Houston, in Texas, right, that we finally got here, the Alamo Drafthouse. I would go to those Lord of the Rings screenings where they'd all stack them all together and you'd be at the movie theater all day. And I loved that. I would sit in a theater for 6 hours and just watch a whole bunch of Marvel properties. It sounds like the best day I could possibly have, especially if they make a Marvel menu to go with it.
Now, when you bring up like going to the theater for 6 hours, obviously I think of Ray Ora. So, like, Ray, would you be going to movie theaters to watch a 6-hour cut of one of these things? How enthusiastic? How quick will you get to those movie theaters to
What
watch?
if I bring you snacks?
He's just pushing the microphone away from himself.
What if we get to eat full meals?
Yeah, the food we brought to you, Ray. Food.
6 hours? No, man. Come on.
It's hard enough to get him to sit through a 40-minute episode of
That's
Moon Knight
true.
or
It's
Halo. It's true.
Nah.
It's true.
No. 6 hours. Are they doing it in 2 movies? This Miss Marvel
No,
thing?
they're
Is
going
it
to do
one
it
movie?
3 in Pakistan. They're going to do it as 3.
In
So
3.
2, 2, and 2. 2 episodes into 1, 2 episodes
So
into
when
1,
you
2
buy
episodes
one ticket, are you automatically in the second and the third
That's a
one?
good question.
You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Because if it's that, then hey.
No, you know what I didn't
No.
read any specifics about that. I'm going to guess that they're going to try to make as much money off this as possible, and so you got to buy a ticket 3 times.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's fair, because if you're going to go to a movie and watch an hour and 45-minute, 2-hour movie, you're going to pay a ticket price. So I guess that's not unreasonable.
What if it's like you buy the ticket and then you get all 3 showings? You have to schedule the showings when they're released, but you don't like the first episode, so you don't go to the second or third one, and they fine you for not coming.
They fine you.
Mhm.
Yeah. No.
I have
is
no
why Ray
idea
is
what
not
I'm
in
talking
government.
about, but I'm just don't know.
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole notion about them taking a Disney Plus series and putting it in theaters for countries that don't have Disney Plus? Do you think it's something that we could maybe get here? I highly doubt it. It doesn't seem like it would be, consistent with what their corporate goals are, but who knows? Would you like that? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 4. Chris, what is our 4th main topic today?
This is from Charlie. Hey, John and crew. I just read a report from The Hollywood Reporter saying that due to success of Jackass Forever, they are working with the crew to make a new TV series.
Woo!
What do you think of Jackass going back to the small screen? And do you think the original crew will come back? Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
All right, look, I'll tell you right now. I was not a Jackass guy. Might have been a Jackass, but I was not a Jackass guy. I didn't really like the show. I didn't like the original movie. I don't know why, but when Jackass 3 came out, as somebody who didn't like the show, didn't like the previous things, I watched Jackass 3 and I laughed my ass off. I don't know why suddenly out of nowhere that franchise suddenly worked for me. And then along comes Jackass Forever. And there's something really weird about it because Jackass for a long time has, understandably and rightfully so, been looked at as really lowbrow, lowest common denominator, lowest hanging fruit kind of, desperate for attention kind of entertainment, right? But I remember being at CinemaCon, and when they were talking about Jackass Forever, the dialogue changed. And the world was suddenly looking at Jackass Forever as, this is the movie the world needs right now. And I remember thinking that was really silly. But then when you watch Jackass Forever, as we were in, coming in the exit stages of COVID and all that kind of stuff, that is still present today. But still, as people were getting back to the movie theaters, Jackass came out, and I thought it was really strange when I hear these people say, this is the movie the world needs. Well, like, that sounds ridiculous. But then you watch the movie and you laugh yourself sick and you cringe and close your eyes and go, and whatever, so much that when you walk out of the theater and you go, you know what? I hadn't had an experience like that in years. With the world being what it has been, with the isolation and the struggles and the troubles people have had over the years and stuff like that, I suddenly realized watching Jackass Forever that all those people that I thought were crazy saying at the time were right. This was the movie that the world needed right now. And I loved it. I loved it. Not as much as Jackass 3, but I really loved it. And it was incredibly successful for what it was. Jackass Forever. So am I surprised they're now, Paramount Studios is looking at Jackass as another TV series? Not at all. This comes to us from the folks over at the CBR who wrote the following. A new Jackass series is currently in development for Paramount Plus. According to information pulled from a recent Paramount earnings call, the Jackass crew will return exclusively to the studio streaming service, that's Paramount Plus, for a new show. Based on the success of Jackass Forever, we're working with the creators to continue the partnership with a new series, bringing even more ridiculous antics straight to Paramount Plus. Paramount Global CEO Bob Bakish told a post-earnings analyst call, according to The Hollywood Reporter. At the time of writing, nothing about the series beyond its existence is known, but fans can expect more information in the coming months. And that, again, comes to us from the folks over at CBR. I am not surprised at all that they're looking at trying to revitalize this show. Obviously, there was still a big nostalgia factor with Jackass. A lot of people still are very attached to it. They know at least some of the characters. A lot of the original characters aren't there anymore, and there's a bunch of new characters that are in there as well, all that kind of stuff. So, on the one hand, I get it. I get why Paramount's doing this. I told you, I think it is a move they should make. I think it's something that could pay off for them. By the way, this was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. This girl, she's one of the new people in the crew. Hardcore.
She's great.
Like hardcore, this girl. Anyway, so I get why they're doing it. I think it's the right thing to try. You just had this big success. Paramount Plus doing pretty well. Keep the momentum going. However, that being said, while I came around to believing that Jackass Forever was the movie the world needed, it's not anymore. I don't know that the world needs Jackass anymore. I mean, it was perfect at the time. I love 3 and 4, but I don't know if this is a show that I don't know as a show if this is something that can succeed today. Rob, you hear that Paramount Plus is looking at revitalizing the Jackass series, coming off the success they had with Jackass Forever. Is it, from a business point of view, a good move? Do you think it's something that can work today? What do you think?
Well, just based on the success of the new film, the fact that, like you said, you were not a Jackass guy, but you really liked the new movie. I think it's an obvious move. Low cost, perhaps big return. It's
right.
It from a business standpoint, I totally get it. I completely understand. Do we need more Jackass? Does another generation of people need to do these ridiculous pranks on TikTok? Don't they already do that? I mean, I don't know. But I mean, from a business standpoint, it ain't show friends, it's show business. I see it. I get it. And for not a lot of risk, you could get potentially a big return. So that makes sense. I'm not going to watch it, but somebody is. I mean, somebody's going to enjoy it, and I think that it makes sense that, hey, I mean, if something's successful, you make another one.
But you raise up a good point. Sorry, Ray, you were going to say something there.
I'm going to say, the Jackass movie, whether you liked it or not, it was one of those films where every scene you react to. There's a reaction,
there's
right?
Definitely reaction.
And there's no other thing out there that's like that, where every part of a movie you're reacting to it, which I appreciate. The risk, I think, is not with the studio. The risks is with the people involved. I mean, I'm so scared one of them is going to die by doing something.
Well, because
law of
diminishing returns, right? Like, you got to make every stunt's got to be crazier and crazier and crazier. But here's the other thing. When Jackass first came out and became a cultural phenomenon, there was no YouTube per se, at least not to the degree in social media, video sharing and all that kind of stuff. So you want to see people do crazy stuff to themselves, got to watch Jackass. Today, there's TikTok, there's YouTube, there's Instagram, there's all these types of things. And how far do these guys have to push it to stay ahead of, just the stuff you can find on YouTube and TikTok. And I know that could get dangerous.
Yeah, that could get dangerous, but they will push it, and like the way it will help the show is word of mouth. Like, you know, on the Monday, let's say it comes out Sunday. Monday,
real good.
Monday, you'll be like, oh, did you see that stunt this guy did? Someone is going to see something, and they'll talk about it.
But how do you top, Francis Ngannou straight up punching you in the balls? How do you top that? That's just like
punching Francis Ngannou in the balls.
Well, yeah. Well, then you die.
Making sure your balls are manscaped first.
Making sure they're manscaped.
Synergy.
That was a much better.
Oh.
That was a better segue than mine. Yes. Well
Let's
done.
get Robin
Well
the shot
done.
with that background right there.
All right. Fact checker John is
perfect. That's
giving
like a match
standing
made in
ovation
heaven.
there. All right, Chris. Let me ask you this. Okay, so I get it. Success Jackass has some momentum going, but they want to make another series out of it. Is this something that can work today?
I mean, I think it can. There is a level of schadenfreude here, right? Where we just love watching other people get the shit kicked out of them to an extent. Like everyone always laughs at a ball hit. Not the person getting their balls hit, but everyone around them does.
Yeah.
This show is
It's
also
true.
it's just, it's just funny. I don't think this is an expensive show to make either, aside from the insurance cost. So, I mean, it's really, really low budget. It's wildly entertaining to most people. The hardcore chick you guys were talking about before too, that's Rachel Wolfie Wolfson. So I would love to see her do more stuff.
That's a real name?
They call her Wolfie.
Oh.
Yeah. Wolfie's a Christian name. That's a
I shall
Christendom.
dub thee Wolfie.
That's what I would name a kid.
Like Mozart's nickname.
Yeah, there you go. But I think it has legs, and I think there's definitely an audience for this. It just is with YouTube and TikTok and everything else. Would you tune in for this streaming service when you could just Google it? Is kind of my issue.
You know, someone in the chat just brought something up. I think his name was Solid Snake Jake. He said
Good
they
name.
might involve celebrities.
Well, I mean,
Celebrities
the
in
movie
it.
did, right?
I mean, but that would get more an audience if you involve. I'm pretty sure they won't do anything crazy, but if they're popular stars and they could get them to do a segment, that could,
Well, I mean, the
provide some
movies
sort
have
of.
done that. Like even Jackass Forever, they brought in what's his name? That Eminem eviscerated. What's his?
Machine Gun.
Machine,
Gun Kelly?
So they had Machine Gun Kelly in it and stuff like that. Like there, who's that? What's that survival show? Bear something.
Bear
Naked-
Grylls.
Yeah, and he like brings like some celebrities into a fight for your life kind of nature excursion, whatever.
Even Impractical Jokers brings in celebrities now every now and then.
Yes, I
mean,
don't know. Maybe it could work. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It looks like Jackass is returning to TV again, this time on Paramount Plus. Did you like Jackass Forever? I certainly did. Do you think that a show can be successful today? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys. With that down, let's move on to our fifth and final main topic today. Chris, what is our fifth topic today?
Our fifth topic comes from Rory. Hey, John and crew, did you see that Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is currently sitting at 84% on Rotten Tomatoes? Personally, I was hoping for slightly higher, but it's still a very solid score. What do you guys think of this score and reviews that have come out for the film? Thanks from the UK.
2 days. 2 days until we see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I mean, we've already seen the first 20 minutes, but now we're going to get to see the rest of it. And last night, here on the channel, I did Reaction Watch. And yes, I did have the breaking news music, Ray. You'll be happy to know. We did Reaction Watch last night, and we watched the reactions pour in. And I will tell you right now, they weren't as positive as I thought they'd be, especially since we saw the first 20 minutes. And the first 20 minutes are ludicrously good. Like really, really entertaining. Like we all walked out of the theater pretty buzzed.
Yeah.
After watching the first 20 minutes, it was great. Now, of course, that was only 1/6 of the movie. There's 5/6 of it we still haven't seen to a certain degree. And so the reactions started to come in, and most of them positive, like quite positive. But a number of them were like, you know what? This one wasn't for me. Or I was a little bit disappointed by it, but I still liked it. And, you know, some of those as well. But overall, the majority did like it, but it wasn't, you know, the kind of reaction that I was anticipating after watching the first 20 minutes of the movie. I was expecting something a little bigger, a little higher, and stuff like that. Well, the 84% is now lower. As of right now on Rotten Tomatoes, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness is now holding an 80%. with 100 reviews currently being counted. I know on this screen it says 91, but on mine right now it says with 100 reviews currently counted and 80%. Now, this is still, make no mistake about it, a overwhelmingly positive score. This is an overwhelmingly positive score. But, you know, whereas almost any movie can come out and have an 80%, and the world would go, wow, that's a huge win. If a Marvel movie comes out and gets 80%, people go, what went wrong? Oh, these are the dying days of Marvel. I mean, okay, whatever. But still, even I would say that this is lower than what I was expecting, particularly after watching the first 20 minutes. I was expecting something a little bit higher. Now, going through Reaction Watch last night, a lot of the reactors and the reactions coming out were like, this is, especially once you get into the second half of the film, horror. This is a horror film. And this is a film you can't bring your kids to. That's what I started. Now, I don't know that. I haven't seen the movie in its entirety yet. But I started hearing a lot of people saying that you cannot bring your children to this movie. A lot of body horror, a lot of kind of gruesome stuff, a lot of kills, all this kind of stuff. And I remember, Rob, you and I were talking about this before the show started. I remember thinking, I wonder if that had something to do with some of the more lukewarm responses. Like, not to make excuses for anybody else liking or not liking a movie, but if you go into a movie expecting one thing and you get something totally different, it's understandable that it might throw you for a bit of a loop. It might discombobulate your expectations a little bit, and it might have an impact on your experience with it. It would be perfectly understandable if you're expecting one thing and get another. Little analogy here. I remember as a teenager, God, I used to love Kool-Aid. Do they still sell Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Can you still buy Kool-Aid?
Yeah.
Well done.
well timed. So
Fire today, R&B.
that was Rob's love making voice right there. So anyway,
What?
Should I text Elizabeth?
Thankfully, she's in Germany and she'll miss that. Wow.
Can you confirm?
Anyway, so this one time I was like 14 or 15, and I said, I'm going to make myself a pitcher of Kool-Aid. And I grab I pour in the Kool-Aid in the water, and I grab the sugar bowl and the sugar and blah, blah, blah. And then I take a big gulp, and I almost died. Like my throat seized up. I started hacking and coughing and whatever, because instead of grabbing the sugar thing, I grabbed the salt container. And I had poured a cup of salt into it instead of sugar. Was not expecting it. Now, for all I know, maybe that would have been the most delicious cup of Kool-Aid ever, but it was not what I was expecting. And so I kind of threw my experience off. And so all I'm saying is that I started wondering if maybe that big heightened sense of horror that is truly in this movie that we have not seen yet, I just couldn't help but wonder if maybe that threw off some people's expectations. And if it did, that would be completely understandable. But still, 80%, 100 reviews in. This is a solid, great score for any movie. Obviously, still a little bit lower than I was expecting. Rob, you're seeing the reviews come in. You started reading some of them. You saw the reactions coming in. What are your thoughts right now on what we're seeing coming in from Doctor Strange?
Well, we were talking earlier this morning, and I was explaining that one of the great appeals, I think, of the MCU, beginning with Iron Man 1, is it was grounded. Like Iron Man 1 Tony Stark was a very believable guy, like in our world today. And the Iron Man suit and the story in Iron Man 1, a man finding his soul, finding what he should be doing with his life. We all understand that. It's very grounded. This movie is not grounded. This movie is dealing with the multiverse. When we watched the first 20 minutes, John, I was bouncing in my seat.
You were. I can attest to that. You absolutely were.
I loved it so much. I mean, I'm like, this is so bonkers. There's not one monster, but two. Two big monster battles in the first 20 minutes. And I'm just like, what is not to love? That said, I know that's not for everybody. There's a lot of people going, what is all this goofiness? Because there's not a lot of, this is leaning heavily into the horror, the fantasy, the multiverse, multiple iterations. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, I don't even get what's going on
There's
here.
a giant squid one-eyed monster throwing cars.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that this probably isn't for them, which I can understand. And I think a lot of, even in the reviews and the trades, people are talking about maybe it's too much. I'm like, too much? If you grew up a comic book fan and read all the stuff and you understand all these things and variants and this and that and the other thing, I think if you give yourself over to it, but there's a lot of people that they get one ask in a movie. Like if I took my mother to this movie, she would have tuned out 5 minutes in. She's like, I don't understand anything that's happening in this movie. And it's so steeped in the Marvel lore. Now, that's not to say that could be a good thing or a bad thing. All I know is that I've seen 20 minutes of it. And bruh, that shit put a smile on my face. I loved every minute of it. And I can't wait to see the rest of it. But I can understand why it's not everyone's cup of tea.
So I wanted to share this. There's a couple of reviews here. Let me just see if I can bring the one up. So on the one hand, you've got IndieWire, right? So this is compare and contrast, because I think this is going to be a movie that will work for some and not work for others. IndieWire's headline on Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is this: Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness review. Sam Raimi just saved the MCU from itself. So I have not read the full review that they had there to see what the context of that is. But then we go over to The Verge, which is a site that I like a lot, is The Verge. And the Verge's headline is very, very different. The Verge's headline reads as follows: Doctor Strange 2 gets lost in a tangle of fan service and half-baked ideas. So you got two sites that I really like having two very different perceptions of this. But still, it needs to be emphasized here that overall, these are overwhelmingly leaning positive. They're overwhelmingly leaning positive. Maybe not as high as I was thinking, but we'll see. Anyway, Chris, you're seeing these reactions, reviews. Is this what you kind of expected? Are you hearing anything that's surprising you? What's your take on this?
I mean, honestly, we've talked about this before on the show. It's not up to the critics, right? We get things wrong or different from other people all the time. We had this with Top Gun. I had a very different experience than you guys because film is subjective.
Yeah.
Ray and I's probably favorite movie of the year, Sonic 2.
Yeah. Critics
panned it almost. Some of them were really upset about it. And we loved that movie, and so did fans. So I think having a B+ is pretty dang good, first of all. That's fine by me. What I've been reading is those people who have had an issue with this, they feel like it kind of lacks a narrative center, and it gets caught up in the madness portion of this. From what I saw, that 20 minutes that we had at CinemaCon, though, I mean, that madness was great. I loved every minute of it. We were off to the races. And so if that movie keeps giving me more of that, I'm in. I'm wondering if this is not for the faint of heart Marvel viewer, right? Somebody who's a casual Marvel viewer, maybe they won't appreciate all the intricacies that could be happening in this film. Maybe they don't appreciate Sam Raimi's film stylings. But I really, really think this is still going to be a slam dunk for Marvel.
Well, I mean, just for the record, Sonic 2 has almost 70%. Rotten
when we first started talking about it, though, it was failing.
It was a little bit
was
mixed.
Like a 67.
It was a little bit mixed and stuff like that. And that's the whole thing. I think, when we saw Eternals, I had the same feeling about this about Eternals, because Eternals was such, and I'll tell you right now, I am a Eternals appreciator. I mean, hello, Erisham, judge the world. And let me bobble that head. There we go. For those listening to the podcast, they different context. Hey, let's bobble the head. Anyway, so I really liked Eternals. I liked it a lot, as a matter of fact.
Refrain myself.
Like, I didn't think Eternals was in a top 10.
Restrain.
Was top 10 Marvel for me, but I really appreciate the film. I know you liked it quite a bit too.
I did. I mean, and you know what? It just touched on issues that I thought were interesting. I thought it was thought-provoking. But
they said it was going to be very different from any other Marvel movie, and it was. And I remember you and I having conversations that, I just can't help but wonder if maybe the fact that it was so different from everything else that Marvel had done, it was such a different tone, and it was clearly more of a Chloe Zhao movie than it was a Marvel movie, if that maybe understandably discombobulated some people when they watched it, because that's not what they were kind of looking for when they go into a Marvel movie. Again, so I don't know if that's what's happening here with Doctor Strange or not. We will find out for sure, more or less. But, Ray, hearing everything, I know you've been excited for Doctor Strange too. Where's your excitement level for right now? Are you still looking forward to this? Especially since it's only 2 hours
looks
long?
Looks like the 266 million. I overshot that.
Right.
I'm going to have to bet another on Thor now to get a hot toy. But
I think it's still going to happen for you.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, I actually wish the score was lower. I mean, my perfect spot is like 60 to 67%. That's where my
favorite movies live?
Yeah, that's where my favorite movies live for some reason. So hopefully it gets a little lower, and they'll probably be perfect.
But that brings up a good question. Of course, for those of you who don't know, Ray has a lot riding on this movie. Mm-hmm. Because it's not really a bet because apparently it's only a bet if I get something if I win, and apparently I'm not getting anything even if
No,
if I win.
but that's why you took the bet, because it's so ludicrous that you're like, there's no way.
But it's not as ludicrous as I first thought. So for those of you who don't know, when we were taking our initial guesses on what is the opening weekend box office going to be of Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, Ray decided to go what he thought at the time was way out there, and he called 266. To which I said, that ain't going to happen. I mean, it's going to be big and it's going to be successful, but it ain't going to happen. And so somehow he manipulated me into agreeing to some kind of wager where now, if it does make 266 million, I got to buy him a hot toy.
But wait, let's put this into context. Like, No Way Home made like 250 something million.
Something around there. Chris, can you look
So
that up?
Sure.
and that movie is, I think it's enjoyable, and I would have watched a second time or a third time. We'll see what we think about this movie, but if I don't get that feeling, then there's no way it hits way past No Way Home. No way it makes.
Well, I mean, so if it does though, you are in. And remember, a 1/6 scale, none of this 1/4 scale.
Yes.
All right, so I don't know, Rob. Does he have a chance? Is he getting a hot toy here or not?
You know, when
It was
when,
260 million, just real quick.
It was 260.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's got to be a little bit more than Spider-Man did.
when there's a hot toy involved, I'm always pulling for him to win or anyone to win.
But
You know,
will
look,
he?
I mean, we've only got 2 hot toys, but they look pretty badass on our desks here, dude. I mean, that Infinity War cap, that represents.
You know,
This
if
is
we
my
don't,
favorite. Yeah.
if
And
we
this is
don't,
my Infinity War Doctor Strange also representing. Wouldn't it be nice if Ray Aura had something right
We
next
need
to
100
him?
of these.
See,
now.
the chat was really nice and said, you should just give us yours, Rob.
Rob has enough to give out a whole bunch. I'm sure Elizabeth
You
would
can
be
also
happy if you
sneak in some
did.
physical media with it.
How about no?
You can indoctrinate the youth.
look,
How about no?
Look, if I don't win this bet, we're gonna just move it to Thor, and then I'm gonna want a Mighty Thor hot toy. So we'll think of a new bet,
Tell you what, after that trailer, I'd take a Mighty Thor Jane hot
Heck
toy.
yeah.
especially if it was
After
like
watching that trailer?
die-cast armor. That would be so cool. Rob already bought it. You can look in his
Probably already
face. He's
did.
like, yeah, it is cool. You
No,
should
they
check it
don't
out."
have any Love and Thunder hot toys up for pre-order yet.
All right, guys. Question is for you. What are you thinking about this? The reviews came out for Doctor Strange, and listen, make no mistake about it. They're very positive. Maybe not as positive as we were kind of looking for. Does this do anything to your excitement? Increase it, decrease it, whatever? Whatever your guys' thoughts are, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. Okay, guys, we're now going to move into the live questions part of our show here. We're going to take some questions from you guys. And as such, I'm going to turn on the super chats, and we're going to turn them on right now. The super chats are now on. Are they on? Yes, they are now on. So you guys can start firing in your questions, and we will start getting to those questions once we get back from a message from one of the sponsors of today's show, the wonderful folks over at Policy Genius. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Policy Genius. Now, when it comes to the topic of life insurance, I get it. A lot of people ask, well, why even get life insurance? Well, listen, if someone relies on you financially, whether it's a child, a parent, or a business partner, life insurance gives you peace of mind that they have a financial cushion if something were to happen to you. Policy Genius is here to help you, and they're going to make sure you pay as little for it as possible. By making it easy to compare your options from top companies, Policy Genius can help you make sure you're not paying a cent more than you have to for the coverage you need. So here's how it works. Policy Genius is your one-stop shop to find the insurance that you need at the right price. Just click in the link down in the description or head on over to policygenius.com/Campea to get started. In minutes, you can compare personalized quotes from top companies to find your lowest price. You can save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. And the process is easy because the licensed agents at Policy Genius are on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options and make decisions with confidence. Because ultimately, the Policy Genius team works for you, not for the insurance companies. And you can feel confident with Policy Genius because they don't add on extra fees. They don't sell your information to third parties, and they have thousands of 5-star reviews all across Google and Trustpilot. So again, guys, head on over to policygenius.com/Campea or click on their link down in the description below to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. And thank you again to Policy Genius for sponsoring.
And a big thank
thank you to our friends over at Policy Genius for supporting and sponsoring this episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that all down, let's now move in and start taking your live comments and questions, shall we? Chris, what do we got lined up here?
All right, we are starting things off with Kay sending in a super chat just to support, Francisco Gomez, and Chad Fisher. Thank you so much. Ostracized Child as well. A Marcellus. I'm sure I will love this film because all I wanted was weird, freaky wizard stuff from Wanda and Strange. The people disappointed probably wanted...
Also sounds like Rob's love life.
How do you know so much? The people disappointed probably wanted 30 plus cameos in a 2-hour movie called Doctor Strange.
I'll tell you what, A. Marcellus, I mean, look, where my excitement level is right now is pretty much off the roof. Like, when we watched the opening 20 minutes, like, I was already starting to get pretty excited about Doctor Strange, but that opening 20 minutes just was so fun and so entertaining and so imaginative that I'm more excited for Thor right now because it's Taika Waititi, but I am very ludicrously excited for this right now. All right, what's next?
All right, we are going to Andy, 1 of 2. Super chats turned off yesterday before I could get 2 of 2 in. Batfleck helped Barry get a job in the CCPD. Can't wait for Barry to trash the Batcave.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So he wasn't going to call Selena skank. Okay. I was presumptuous.
Listen, it's still, this is going to be one of the more interesting things to see how Warner Brothers navigates this whole Ezra Miller thing. Again, and I feel bad for the Discovery and David Zaslav camp because they've inherited this. They've inherited this mess. And now what do you do now? Like Rob, let me ask you.
Do you bring the axe of Zaslav down?
Does the axe of Zaslav come down? I don't know if you can. They're so far into the film is shot. It's made. It's done. What can you do? Like if you're David Zaslav right now and you just come over and inherit it, do you go like, we have no other choice but to keep going with this idiot strategy they have of let's just hope everything blows over by the time the movie comes out? Do you try to be proactive, but the movie's already shot, you're whisking money? I don't know. What do you do right now if you're them? Because I honestly don't know. I don't have an answer.
Look, I think the movie is coming out in a year. Comes out next May. I think you soldier on, you move forward, and you hopefully, whatever Ezra Miller's problems are that he's facing, you have him come to terms with those things. And we don't really know what's going on. We've only heard reports. Maybe something happened in his life. Who knows? And maybe he gets the help he needs. He comes out, throws himself on a sword and mea culpa, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but you release the movie. I think it's all you can do, and the movie still could be wonderful
if it exists.
I have no doubts. I mean, hey, look, I trust Andy Muschietti. The guy's a good director. I trust it's going to be good. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
Real quick shout out to Francis, who was on my Southwest flight, who works for WB Distribution. Was like, can't wait to watch your stuff. I like hearing you guys talk about WB. And I was like, you know what I want you to say, though, right? He was like, okay. So thanks for dealing with me. All right. Do we have a second part to Andy's?
Yeah, I found it up top, so you can. No, Sam.
Oh, Sam. Okay. Sam, 1 of 2. I have a feeling that this third personality, let's call him Jake, is an ultra-violent psychopath that is going to come to the surface in the darkest hours of the final battle. It's perfectly foreshadowed.
Well, I mean, look, they have to address it. I mean, you can't have what happened in episode 4 when you look in the room and see the third sarcophagus shaking with a personality trying to get out and then not return to that. Yet another dangling thread that they need to address in the final. And maybe it comes, look, we already saw in the trailer for the final episode that Moon Knight and Harrow getting ready to clash and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that's where he comes out. I don't know, but they got to do something to address it at this point. Okay, what's next?
All right. From Nash Preds 99. You mentioned Spider-Man's anniversary. Don't forget the MCU turned 14 years old yesterday as Iron Man was released on May 2nd, 2008.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, I mean, 14's not a
last year would have been good.
Yeah, I mean, next year,
Bar
15th
mitzvah.
anniversary will be great for Iron Man. But yeah, I mean,
14 years ago.
14 years since Iron Man came out. I was at Comic-Con the year they dropped that trailer for that first Iron Man movie and changed everybody's perception about what it could be. Because there was a lot of skepticism about that movie before that trailer dropped. And I was one of them. I was one of the big skeptics of it until that trailer dropped. All right, what's next?
From Seconds from Disaster, 1 of 3.
Good luck.
Hi, everyone. Feige said something happened at the end of Loki that allows Doctor Strange 2 to happen. What I think he means is that when He Who Remains dies...
Uh-huh. Okay, so guys,
Sorry,
you know what?
guys.
I'm implementing a new rule. Implementing a new rule here, executive decision right now. So if you want to send in a multi-part thing, now remember the super chats are only open for about a minute and a half, and then we got to close them. We can't spend a lot of our time running up and down trying to find second parts. So if you do send in a multi-part thing, just understand we're going to answer one part at a time because or else we can't just use our time streaming up and down. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't offer us a better option for how to organize these things right now. So until they do, we're just going to have to answer them one at a time. Okay, so bring up the screen again. What was it that he was talking
Seconds
about?
from disaster. What I think he means is that when he who remains dies.
Okay, we'll
I've
keep
got
that in mind when we
second
get to the next one. Okay.
His second part is all the branch timelines appear. Those timeline branches off throughout timeline's history, and since the TVA can't stop it, I think one of the timelines happened due to either Wanda or Strange, and now we're in that branch timeline leading to Kang. Makes sense, especially since Kang is in Ant-Man 3.
If so, then I'm really worried for Marvel because they're making things really convoluted.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what they're doing, they're making, which ultimately is what is going to have to happen with a shared cinematic universe that's getting too big for itself. It's getting really convoluted. There is a massive point of contradiction right now between what is multiverse in definition to the TVA and Loki and what is multiverse in something like Doctor Strange. Because remember, the Ancient One talked about, multiple verses and all that kind of stuff that had been long before the events of Loki happened, where multiverses really. So it's going to be interesting to see just how convoluted and complex Marvel decides to make this, and at what point they start to lose the attention of audiences over it. So, I mean, I don't know. There is a risk there.
You know what's interesting, John? I haven't seen this. No one has said anything about any post-credit scenes.
There are two.
Yeah, but no one said what they are.
Yeah.
Like no one said these are bonkers post-credit scenes. I haven't seen any mention other than the fact that they have them. So it leads me to believe that they're maybe not so revelatory or
Probably not.
yeah, I don't
need them to be revelatory. Just be entertaining or funny or something.
Yeah, but I think you're right. I mean, I'm all about the cosmology of the Marvel Universe now. Like with all of this multiverse stuff happening, Comertage looks like it gets attacked in the trailers. We just saw in the first 20 minutes a gigantic tentacled one-eyed monster attacks New York City, blowing stuff up. How does the regular everyman like going to work? Maybe he has a little shop on the corner. What does that guy think? There's celestials in the sky. There's monsters in New York. There's aliens. How does the rest of the Marvel Universe feel about all of these shenanigans?
Well, we'll probably start getting answers to that. All right, what's next?
All right, from Ben Rayner. Hi, John and crew. With tomorrow being May the 4th, over or under 25%, we get an Obi-Wan trailer. I'd say over. It just feels like perfect time to me. Thanks for the show.
I'll go one further. I'm going to be really surprised if they don't. I mean, it's May the 4th. There has to be an announcement. I mean, the most logical thing right now would be to release the second trailer. We're now just a number of weeks away from Obi-Wan coming out, so the timing is right. It is May the 4th. I'll be shocked if they don't. Straight up, Ben, I'll be absolutely shocked if they don't. All right, what's next?
From Bert, what are the chances that Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis make a cameo appearance on tonight's Moon Knight finale? I loved Al Jarreau's theme from the 80s.
Yeah.
Moonlighting on Moon Knight. Aww.
Moonlight and Moon Knight, yeah, not too. What is Sybil Shepherd up to these days?
Not enough. I love her.
I don't even remember the last thing I saw her in, to be honest with you.
What did that get you?
No, that was just a funny thing to say.
All right, what's
Is it
next?
because I went so swampy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little
She comes
swampy.
out sometimes. Carlos DeLuza. Hey, guys. Spider-Man was actually the first movie I ever watched in theaters when I was 3 years old.
Wow.
What are the first movies you guys saw in theaters or best experiences in a theater?
Well, everybody knows mine. It's literally my earliest childhood memory. I have no memory before it and not another memory for several years after it. Was my mom taking me to see Star Wars. That's my earliest childhood memory. What about you? What's the first one you remember seeing?
I think Disney's Island at the Top of the World.
I don't even remember that.
It has this giant, they go to the whales graveyard and there's a giant dirigible, they go up in the Arctic and like David Hartman's in it. And I loved it.
What about you, Chris? What's your earliest memory of a movie?
Mine's so terrible. I was talking to Aaron about this. Mine was my Grammy took me to see Swan Princess, and my Grammy was not a very nice lady, and she smoked in the car with the windows up. And I started coughing.
This'll toughen you up, kid.
I started coughing, right? And she goes, "Oh, grow up, Christine." me, but it was probably because I got out of the smoky car.
Now you've got the black lung.
Was that on your mom or your dad's side?
My dad's side.
Oh,
No.
Grow up, Christine.
My nana was fun cuckoo.
can I just say? Can we now use that whenever?
I know.
Yeah,
I was about to say. I
Anytime I
didn't
make
know
a
I
gross,
needed that in my life until just
No.
now. Grow up,
go for it.
Christine.
Anytime I say something terrible on the show, hashtag grow up Christine.
Oh, cool.
All right, what's next?
I'm gonna smoke when I say it.
From Mikey, I've been waiting for a movie to do for Beethoven what Amadeus did for Mozart.
Amadeus. I mean, yeah, listen, I remember when I was a child, I think when I was really young, my dad brought home a laser disc or something of Amadeus and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm actually surprised there haven't been more biopics. I mean, they always go back to 70s and 80s rock stars.
There was a Beethoven biopic. Wasn't Gary Oldman in it?
Immortal Beloved.
Yeah.
Oh.
Say that again, Jonathan?
It was
Immortal Beloved?
Beloved.
I don't remember that one.
Awesome. It's really good.
Yeah.
I don't remember
I mean,
that
it's not as funny as Amadeus.
It's actually
But-
more tragic. But
Yeah, it's more tragic.
All right, what's next?
All right, from My Comic Planet. John, did you check out the Weird Al Yankovic trailer? I know you're a big fan. I loved it.
Nope, have not seen it yet. I am a big fan. We will definitely cover it on the John Campea Show tomorrow, but I've not seen the trailer yet. So that will be coming. Weird Al is life. All right, what's next?
From Jose Garcia. The kiss scene in Spider-Man is what made me realize I like women at 7 years old.
But listen, still today, movies spoof that moment all the time. It's not just one of the most iconic moments in comic book movie history. It's one of the most iconic moments in movie history. Like, everybody knows that scene. It's terrific and forever. And like, I don't know which one of the people on set came up with it or thought of it, but well done. It was well done. All right, what's next?
From Sam Fisher's second part. The darkest hour of the final battle. It's perfectly foreshadowed. I think I already read that one.
Oh, yes, you did. I think you did.
Okay. Kaden, no spoilers. I'm not that big of a prick, lol. But if you're expecting the typical Gunn, Waititi, Russo style MCU here, you're not going to get it. I loved it, but it won't be for everyone.
Yeah.
Well, see, and that's
what I'm
cool.
talking about.
But more and more, one of the things, we talk sometimes about how the more complex and further and top heavy that the MCU becomes, the more in trouble it presents itself. But at the same time, they've been doing such a good job of really diversifying thematically what their content has been. Like I said, Eternals was unlike anything they had ever done. WandaVision was unlike anything they had ever done. Moon Knight is absolutely unlike anything they've ever done. And this one seems like they're really leaning a lot more into horror. And I think this whole notion, I've been arguing with people a couple of years saying, well, all Marvel movies are just the same. Then you're not fucking paying attention, or you're just making that shit up, because they're not. They're absolutely not. I've got some issues with Marvel right now. I definitely have some issues and some concerns about Marvel and their direction and the things that they're doing and some of their habits. Absolutely. But it is, I believe, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous to say, well, they're just all the same. No, then you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. There are other problems to talk about for sure, but I don't think that's one of the problems. All right, what's next?
From Lucky BX. Hi, crew. I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel delivers a twist and Mark's third personality is not Jake, but Bushman.
But is something a twist if nobody knows what it is?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
Well, I know what
99% of the
Bushman
people
is,
at home are
who
not
he is.
expecting Jake.
Right.
Like, there are a couple of the 1%er of the people who know the comic books that are thinking it's going to be Jake. Well, it's not Jake. Well, 99% of the people at home never heard of Jake, so to them, it's not going to be a twist at all. I don't know, Rob, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. And Bushman, there's been no indication that Bushman exists yet, unless we get a flashback backstory to all of this to find out what actually happened to Mark.
Right. Okay. What's next? That makes sense.
From Chad Fisher. Hey guys, love the show
Thank
and all
you,
you
Chad.
do. Do you think there's a chance Strange could question the supposed Ultron bots and or name drop Stark because of the similarities between them and Iron Man?
Sure. It doesn't really seem like that would be relevant to the movie. It could be just a throwaway line or something like that. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. I mean, has Strange ever actually encountered his Ultron bots, like Iron Man's bot? I don't know if he ever has. I can't think of it.
Yeah, I don't know, because he wasn't in Age of Ultron.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure. But is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. All right, what's next?
From Glenn Mark. Finished up intro to voiceover yesterday.
Oh, yes, he's one of your students,
yeah,
right?
Well, Chris is a totally awesome tutor. Her last session left me quite exhausted. Thanks for the challenge. Glenn crushed it yesterday. I really, really pushed him because he's from New Zealand, so he has a wonderful, wonderful Kiwi accent. And so I had him read some lines as a wizard or no, as an elf from World of Warcraft, and we did some really, really rad stuff. He was amazing.
That
He
also
did so
sounds
well.
like Rob's dating life. I'm just saying.
Man, you have a
Make
very
him speak like an elf.
you have a great dating life. Look at you go.
I'm not gonna lie. I've had a great dating life, to be honest.
All right, what's next?
From Norwegian Kryptonian, riddle me this: in which Pink Floyd song does Doctor Strange have a cameo?
No idea. I'm not a huge Pink Floyd guy, so I don't know.
I would go see Dark Side of the Moon at the Natural Museum in Houston. When
All
I was
right,
completely
what-
sober.
Let's move
Yeah.
on. What's next?
Al Renshaw. They are bringing in the Avengers. That's why Universal is spending the money. Oh, for
yeah.
Fast 10.
That's right. They got. Well, no. Are there any Avengers in that? No.
I
no.
mean,
We got
Brie-
some Justice League. We got a Justice League member in there.
We've got Brie Larson. We got Captain Marvel.
Oh, that's right. So we got Brie Larson. We've got Peacemaker. We've got Aquaman. Really more of a Justice League thing than Avengers. But
Yeah.
still, that's a lot of paydays right there. All right, what's next?
From Big D Studios Entertainment. Very pumped for Doctor Strange. Seeing it Thursday at 4 p.m. and Friday at 10:15 p.m. in IMAX. Also incredibly pumped for Indy Jones. P.S. Game day. Love you guys. God bless.
Indiana Jones isn't a real movie. So, God, I forgot what the first part of his message was about. What was the first part of his message again? I just got kind of
Doctor
lost.
Strange.
Oh, yes. Right. I also have 2 sets of tickets. We're, of course, going to go see it on Thursday. And then I'm going to go see it again on Friday with Ann and our friend Scott. We're going to go see it again. So I've already got 2 sets of tickets. Very, very excited for it, man. All right, what's next?
From Chef Rigo.
Chef Rigo.
In the process of purchasing my first Hot Toys.
Oh, you're done.
So many great options. I'm fucked.
Yep, you're done. This is the problem with Hot Toys. Like, people will often ask me, why do I have only 4 Hot Toys? And my answer is because if I buy a 5th, I will soon have 12. I can't afford that. But
No one can.
Well, yeah, nobody can. And yet we do it. And so I'm like, I have to exercise my self-control in advance. And I know if I buy another one, because I had no Hot Toys, bought one, and before I knew it, I looked around and I had 4. And I'm like, shit, I got to stop. As great as these are, I got to stop. And so, yeah, but just be careful, man. They're awesome things to have. Just be careful.
You don't have to stop, John. You can just keep buying.
Just
them.
give in.
Oh,
Just
what
let
a
it happen.
pusher.
Take
I
that Hot
am.
Toy.
Oh my
I'm the
gosh.
pusher.
The crack dealer of Hot Toys.
It's true.
It's true.
Back at
All
you,
right,
baby.
what's next?
Love you, man.
From Green Tea Drinker, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Green Tea.
Hi, John. You've assembled a great crew for this show. Ray is a ray of sunshine, and Chris's comedic timing is perfection.
Oh, you were fine with the other ends until it got to Chris.
Yeah,
I see how
because I have great comedic timing as I just executed. I've always loved Rob on the show, and I'm so glad he's there every day.
That's true.
Thanks for all you do. It is true.
Listen,
Well, I'm here too.
fact checker Jonathan's like, hi.
You're new.
But they haven't seen you yet.
He's
They haven't had a
not.
chance to see you yet. Listen, I talk a lot about when people ask me about advice and career advice, like you got to love what you do. But honestly, one of the big reasons I love what I do is because of the group of people I get to do it with. And again, it sounds like I'm talking about Rob's dating life. But the reason I love what I do is because I love the people I get to do it with. And, you know, it's because I am with these people 3 hours every day, a couple of them longer than that. And if you don't just naturally like being around those people, you can just be professional and do it. And you can do that, but it's so much more enjoyable when you're having fun doing it. And I can honestly say I legitimately like being around because I don't like a lot of people. I don't know if you guys know that about me. I don't like a lot of people. I'm very much an introvert. It doesn't come across that way when I'm doing the show. I get that, but I am very much an introvert. I'm very selective about people I spend time with. It's not many. But I legitimately like being around every single person in this room. And so that definitely makes the job a hell of a lot easier. And I think it makes for a good show.
He says that while I'm on the island.
Right?
I guess he's not talking about me. It might be someone else.
Well, Ray
I miss
came
you, Ray.
along.
I miss you, desk buddy.
Ray came along with the wife. So he was kind of part
It
of
was
the
a
package
twofer.
deal.
Wow, wow, you got
A
nah,
BOGO.
that bundle is not even worth it.
All right, what's next?
From Ty Burton. To celebrate the anniversary of Spider-Man, do you guys have any favorite one-liners from the movie? I loved when No Way Home referenced, I'm something of a scientist myself.
I was about to say that line forever stays. I thought it was a little corny the way they used it in No Way Home, but still, from the original movie, I'm something of a scientist myself. The way Willem Dafoe gives that line, that's the line that stands out to me. What about you? Do you got one?
Oh, I don't have, man, I don't have one line that I
Do
can
a
come
flip,
up-
Spider-Man. I don't know.
That's not the original Spider-Man, right?
Oh,
No.
Do a flip. All right, what's next? By the way, that
know what I
guy's in
think about?
Severance. Did you know that guy's in Severance?
What?
Yeah, he's the guy holding down the control room.
that's right.
He's the guy in the bus in Shang-Chi.
Yes. Yes, he is. Oh
Right.
my gosh.
I love that guy.
I love that
Oh.
guy. I'm not gonna do anything because they always get yelled at when I try to drive a bus. I love that guy. All right, what's next?
All right, from A. Marcellus again. But if I don't like this movie, then this will prove how I've been feeling about Phase 4 so far. Oh, if they don't like Doctor Strange. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all knew, and this might be something, a larger topic that maybe we make a topic tomorrow. I don't know. But when Endgame finished, and it was kind of the crescendo of everything that the MCU had been up until that point. I remember I made a video on one of my thoughts on walks about these are going to be the challenges facing the MCU now that Endgame's done. And it is still very challenging. I mean, they've knocked it out of the park with a couple of things. They've wrestled a little bit with a couple of things. So I think it'd be really good to revisit. I might go back and relook at that video I made about the challenges that Marvel was going to face moving forward after Endgame and see where we're at now 2 years later since I've made that video. I think that might be an interesting thing to do. All right.
Everyone needs like a break from things. You know what I mean? Like if it's not working out for you, then go watch something else and maybe come back to it later. Like after Endgame, I didn't watch any of the Marvel stuff just because like Endgame took so much out of me. Like I didn't want this reset. I didn't want to start over again, which what it seemed like. And I still haven't seen some of the Disney Plus series. But hopefully, maybe there's something I watch later on that I'll go back to it. But you don't need to watch everything if you're not into it.
All right. What's next?
From Rafael Castillo. I remember watching the original Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers pilots in the theater.
Me too.
Oh, they had that in theaters?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, like they did that a lot. Space 1999 made 2 movies.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Battlestar Galactica had Mission Galactica. They had the pilot in Sensurround, which was that universal sound system that they did for Earthquake, but they
Okay.
had it. And then the Buck Rogers pilot has this opening theme song. Far beyond the world.
That wasn't in the
we
show,
know.
though, was it?
No, but it was in the opening, and it had the logo and like a Bond opening. It had just had these beautiful girls in dresses writhing around, and I was like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah, I bet.
I mean, it was so incongruous for me. It was just so weird to look at this, going, "What is this?" And far away, far too. It was just you got to. Would you be surprised that I have it on?
No, I
disc?
would not
Would
be
you like to-
surprised. You know what's funny? What moist is to Aaron Cummings, I think writhing might be to me. It's
Really?
I never thought of that before until he just said
Wow.
writhing.
Okay.
Like that's a
Let's keep
word.
Well, 'cause
rocking
it's
and writhing along with
insects. You
these.
think of insects like worms coming out of the ground like that. Or
That's not what I think about. No. Anyway, all right. What's next?
All right. So from Amin.
All
I'm
right.
quite surprised we haven't gotten any post-credit scenes for Moon Knight just yet. Do you think we will get one in the final episode?
Listen, I'll be honest with you too. I still, at the end of every episode, grab the remote,
So do
fast
I.
forward, say, is there a
Yeah.
post-credit scene? I mean, there's 6 minutes still to the end of the episode. There must be a post-credit scene. And nope, it's all 6 minutes of credits. I'm going to guess yes. I mean, I can't imagine that they don't have one. If they don't, it'll be a first. So I'm kind of surprised they haven't done it already. I'll give it 80% that they will be a post-credit scene after the final episode. Rob, what about you?
I think they're going to, because they've got to leave it off somewhere. Like,
Yeah.
if nothing else, the post-credit scenes promise some kind of
Maybe
continuation.
Gore shows
No,
up.
it'll be of Miss
think
Marvel
kills Conchi.
probably. whatever their
Miss-
next thing is, it's probably just going to be completely different from Moon Knight.
Yeah, it could be. But I still like the idea of Gore showing up looking for Khonshu, looking
I mean,
for a god.
that could actually be pretty funny or cool
All right, what's next?
or both.
From Blue Jay, sending in an almost $20 super chat.
Thank you,
so
Blue Jay.
much. Happy 20th anniversary to the original Spider-Man film. This film was my childhood, and it will forever hold a special place in my heart. This film I consider to be the unofficial start of the MCU.
Well, I mean, yeah, look, there's some people that look back at Spider-Man and forget Blade and forget X-Men. Some people look back at that original Spider-Man and think about the official start of the golden age of comic book movies. It really is the X-Men film, but still, I mean, there's just so much special about it. When you go back and watch it today, it's true about X-Men, the first X-Men movie and that first Spider-Man movie. When you go back and watch both of those today, you recognize so much influence that those two films had on even the new ones coming out today. It is crazy how influential they are. And you can see that these trends and patterns that started to emerge in comic book movies, they came directly from those films.
Yeah.
And you can't overemphasize the importance of them.
It's true. And, you go back and look, the effects of X-Men 1 are a little primitive compared to now because it wasn't a huge budget movie, but you look at, there's a lot of goofy stuff in X-Men 1, like Toad and Sabretooth.
Yeah.
Little goofy.
You know what happens?
I love them.
Toad gets hit by lightning.
Same thing that happens to
anything
everything
that gets
else.
by lightning.
I mean, yeah.
I was like, what are you guys saying? And that was a line from the movie. Wow.
Oh,
It sure
I
was.
still can't believe that's the one line in that movie. I'm like, oh God, what are they writing in there? That was terrible. All right, what's next?
Al X6 sending in some support. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Al.
Sam Fisher, over under 33% Werewolf by Night, played by Gail Garcia Bernal, will be in the Moon Knight end credit scene.
You
I
know
put it
what?
close to 66.
That's a good guess.
You know what? It is a good guess. I'm going to say 5%. I really don't think they're
Oh.
going to do that here. I really don't.
Could not. I mean, Werewolf by Night's where Moon Knight first appeared.
Because Michael Giacchino is directing this.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe they've even started shooting that yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, I mean, I don't know. They may have. While it's not a bad guess, I'm going to go with like 5%. So I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out tonight.
Yes.
If you're right about that. All
I've
right. What's
convinced
next?
myself we're getting a Werewolf by Night Halloween special. Why do I think that?
Because we are.
We are. Yes.
Okay, so then,
Yeah.
but then they haven't filmed it?
I don't think, or have they started shooting it yet? I'm
I don't
still
know.
not sure.
But that's the best guess I've heard
It's
so
May.
far.
I just feel like they'd have that done.
I mean,
Or
it
in-
could just be like 20 minutes long. But I mean, I have no idea.
I don't
really
either.
don't know.
Okay.
All right. What's next?
From Black Math 88. One thing I've always loved in X-Men is the relationship between Magneto and Xavier. Even when they disagree, they really have a lot of respect for each other.
I'll go so far as to say this. There is no more iconic relationship in all of comics than that of Magneto and Charles Xavier. They are the template of what a dynamic between a protagonist and antagonist in not just all of comic book movies, but all storytelling. That is the ultimate relationship is Magneto and things. So I absolutely agree with you, but I'll just go even further than that. I don't think there's ever been a more important dynamic and relationship in any comic book movie, comic books than Magneto and Xavier. I mean, I don't know, Rob, you're more.
No, I
versed
mean,
in this. What do you think?
there's other, I would say Batman and Robin or Batman and Alfred or Lois and Superman. But in terms of representing an ideology, they talk about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Yep.
And that they both were fighting for the rights of Homo superior, of mutants. And they had different ideologies and ways of going about it. I think you might be right. And that push and pull has been around in comic books for over 60 years now, and it never gets old. And one of the great, I think, strengths of that first X-Men movie was the casting of Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
Here were two men that carried with them, British theater trained actors, the gravitas in those two voices, and when you saw them, man, I think more than anything else, you point out the relationship, those two guys, that casting changed comic book movies forever.
By the way, an interesting note in the live chat from Todd Stephen Burrows writes, "Hey, Robert, thanks to Rob, I went over and watched the Buck Rogers film opening on YouTube, and it made me happy." There you go. Spreading the joy. All right, what's next?
All right. Andy's second part. We already read this one, I thought.
Yes, you did,
Yes.
I think.
All right. So Kara Black, over under 50% that White Vision appears in Doctor Strange 2.
This question's come up a number of times. I will go over 50, not much higher, but again, it just makes sense. Vision is mentioned in the trailer. There is no other character that has a closer connection to Wanda than Vision. There is nobody else could be a more emotional hook to Wanda than Vision, other than maybe her imaginary children. So while I'm not going to say it's super likely, I'll go over 50%. What about you, Rob?
I think over 2. She mentions him by name. I don't know how you can deal with Wanda and not have Vision at some point in the movie.
Chris?
I think that you absolutely have to have him in there.
All right. There you go. We'll find out. All right. What's next?
From Tim, Game Week.
Game week.
Caps game tonight. Moon Knight tomorrow for me. Doctor Strange 2 Thursday. Hyped. What are the caps?
Now, I missed the last 2 minutes, so the score might have been different. But before me and Ann had to go out last night, I was watching me some Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Tampa Bay Lightning game 1 of the playoffs, and my Leafs with a comfortable 5-0 lead with just a couple of minutes to go. So I'm just going to go on a limb and say the game probably ended 5-0. Off to a good start. Go Leafs, go. Bleed blue. All right, what's next?
I still don't know what sport it is.
Hockey.
Thank you.
There we go.
Andy, superhero movies will never top what Spider-Man 2002 did, playing Nickelback at the end. LOL.
Successfully.
I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to "Hero" by Nickelback in honor of that. Andy, why would you do that to yourself?
I don't even know. I can't even remember the song Hero.
And they say that a hero can save us.
Please keep going. I'm sorry. Did it look like I was trying to interrupt you? Please
There is
continue.
no aviation gin in this room anymore.
That's right. Where's the aviation
Where
gin?
is the aviation
What's our
gin?
aviation shot of the day? All right. What's next?
From Sam Fisher. Oh, we read that one as well. Sam Fisher up here. Whines, I don't want to do a rewatch of Doctor Strange, WandaVision, Loki, What If, episodes 1 and 4, and Spider-Man No Way Home. Do I have to, Mom?
Listen, again, the brilliance, the one key guiding factor that Kevin Feige has had with the MCU till now, and I think is the number one reason, other than quality of the programming, that you can attribute to the success of the MCU, is the rule that there has to be no gateway. On everything we put out should be a viable option for somebody for that is their entry point into our MCU. If a potential new audience member comes into one of our properties and instantly feel lost or they don't know what's going on, we lost them. They have to come in and be able to watch Ant-Man 2 and not feel like they're missing anything by having not seen Ant-Man 1. They have to be able to come in and watch Moon Knight without having to watch all the MCU stuff. And that is what has led the MCU's incredible growth, because every single movie they put out, every single TV show they put out has been a possible entry point. And it doesn't abandon people and stuff like that. Now, that's going to become more and more difficult as the movies progress. So, and also you can make an argument that Infinity War is a bit of a prerequisite if you're going to watch Endgame. There's an argument to be made there too. But other than that, every time you watch a Marvel thing, it can be your first experience. You'll be okay. All right, what's next?
From Jay Master, sending in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Jay Master.
My Moon Knight prediction is Mahershala Ali's blade shows up during the episode or as a post-credit scene, because during an interview a few days ago, Moon Knight director Mohamed Diab revealed the finale will have surprises.
Okay, yes, but a finale, any finale, will have surprises.
What?
Are we shocked?
I am.
I mean,
I just figured this ends with Oscar Isaac eating saltines while sitting down. Just
mean-
crisscross applesauce.
I think it's safe to say that every finale of almost every show ever made will have surprises. But that being said, it's not a crazy theory, Jay. We have been waiting very patiently for Mahershala Ali to appear. We finally got his voice making an appearance in Eternals, in which point that he kind of looks like he's about to group up with the Black Knight. Wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world for this thing to end with, Jon Snow and Mahershala Ali to show up and say,
Midnight
hey,
Suns action.
yeah, little Midnight Suns forbearing. I don't know. It's not the craziest idea.
Can't wait to see Blade.
Oh,
Well,
I'm very excited. Ever since they announced Mahershala Ali back in 1975, that
true.
Mahershala Ali was going to be
Wow.
Blade, we've been waiting a long time to see it.
Right around the time of The Flash.
Right about the time of The Flash, or when, The Rock was announced to be Black Adam. All right, what's next?
From Eknor Singh, sad to see the hate that Halo TV show and Power of the Ring from Amazon are getting from the diehard fans. Fans don't bash Marvel for not following comics.
Well, I mean, look, I don't give a fuck what anybody says.
Yep. That's the way
Halo's
it
been
should be.
good. I've liked it.
Look-
But in the game, listen, go play your game. I will go watch the show. And I don't come to Halo with any baggage because I've played the game and therefore I have certain expectations. The show's been good. It's been, as somebody who doesn't have Halo background, I've sat down, I've watched this thing, I'm like, damn, this is entertaining. This is really good. As far as the Lord of the Rings things go, man, you want to talk about, you have to bring an agenda to something to have as passionate a response to something that this has had when nobody's seen one fucking episode of it yet. Like that just
Right.
to me tells me you have a pre-existing agenda. You haven't seen one frame of it. It's totally fair to look at the promo material they put out and say, that's not appealing to me. That doesn't look good. That's fair. But when you look at some of the vitriol that's gone on, it's like, okay, so clearly you're mad. There's a girl, and clearly you're upset because you're clearly coming to this with an agenda. Now listen, this Lord of the Rings show may very well be the worst television show in the history of TV. But we can legitimately start forming those opinions once we've seen any of it. But yeah, we live in a day and age now that a lot of art tastes are now being driven by political persuasions, political agendas. So it is what it is. Nobody's seen one episode of either of these, or of Halo, obviously, but nobody's seen an episode of the Lord of the Rings thing yet. But whatever. We'll see what happens. But here's the thing, too. You can always tell, like, even if, like I said, this might be the worst show in television history. Mm-hmm. Even if it's the best show in television history, you can already identify the people who are going to say it's shit no matter what.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't match up with their agenda.
You know, John, the problem with the Halo thing is, like, I could get with some of the complaints. It's just when they start calling the people who enjoy the show not true Halo fans, when some of us
people who make themselves gatekeepers.
like, I mean, it's like, let some people enjoy things. I mean, if you keep complaining, I mean, Halo won't even be on the air. Like,
the worst people in the world are gatekeepers. All right? Like, look, I hate the prequels. I hate the Star Wars prequels. You come to me and say you like the prequels? I'm like, awesome. I mean, I don't, but I'm glad you do. And I'm not going to say to you, well, you're not a real Star Wars fan if you liked whatever part of the prequels it is. Not at all. If you like them, you like them. That's great. But no, seriously, the worst people in all of fandom are people who proclaim themselves and make themselves gatekeepers. Like, well, if you like this, then you just don't, or you're not a real fan of this stuff. If you like that stuff, okay, gatekeeper, go ahead, keep jacking it off behind the bushes there. Like, it's just ridiculous. Anyway,
okay.
Don't say that's like my sex life.
Better not be my bushes.
I said dating life. I never
Dating
said
life.
sex life.
Either way.
All right, what's next?
From Chuck the Mystery. Hey everyone, after seeing The Black Phone, how do you think it will do in theaters? Is it a good enough film that word of mouth could make it a hit?
No, very, very few smaller indie feeling horror movies become big hits, right? That's fair to say, right? All I can tell you that how will the audience respond to this? It will very much depend on the marketing campaign they mount for it. I still don't sense a lot of awareness for the film, to be honest with you. But I'll tell you this, I like this movie.
Yep.
This is an enjoyable time in the theater. It wrecked Erin Cummings. Like, she looked like she was just told her husband passed away in a car accident for an hour after this movie. Her mascara was all running.
She was really
She was
upset.
disheveled. She was upset. She was like,
Oh, man.
that's how effective this movie is. I found it to be very fun. Like, it's creepy as hell. It's a great scares. It's a good experience.
It would make a lot of money if it came out like during Halloween. A lot of people are like looking for like a scary movie. I mean, I thought all the techniques were done of how to scare someone, but this one brought out some different ways that I wasn't prepared for.
It was really good.
It was a lot of fun.
It was
Good
low
movie.
budget horror done right by people who know what they're doing.
I got to tell you this one moment in the film. So Erin, who is very fragile when it comes to scary movies, and I'm not dissing on it. That's right out of her mouth. Like,
Yeah.
So we're watching this movie, and at one point I realized she is completely balled up, knees to chin, elbows tucked in like this, and like kind of half trying to cover her eyes a little bit. And there was this really tense moment, and I realized, okay, she can't see me at all. I'm sitting beside her because she's leaning a little bit one way. So I like, here's my chance. Bah! And I touch it like this, right?
That was so funny.
She jumped out of her seat. Ray starts laughing hysterically, and you can hear him laughing.
I was sitting right behind them. I chose the back
So you
row.
can hear Ray laughing through the entire theater. And Aaron, look at me like an unto a wolf when you just stepped on her pup's head. Because she cranked out.
Yeah, she did.
Punched me so hard in the arm.
She was
'Cause
telling me the next morning where she's like, I frog punched him. I threw a thumb in there.
he was, because I scared the shit out of him.
That
But
was so funny.
that's how tense the movie is. Like, it's definitely these moments of tension in that movie that really get. I think it's a very well made movie. I had a very Scott Derrickson, who was the director of the original Doctor Strange, and of course directed Sinister, with also Handsome Hawk starring in that one as well. It's just a really fun movie. I hope you enjoy it. But how it'll do financially, no idea. I hope the word of mouth is good. All right, what's next?
From Raymond Villarda, new Super Pets trailer, but Weird Al trailer dropped.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. We probably won't talk about the Super Pets trailer tomorrow, but we will definitely talk about the Weird Al trailer tomorrow. Absolutely. All right, what's next?
From Ron H, Disney, Chapek, always looking for more money. If screening in Pakistan yields a lot of extra money, I can definitely see it happening here in North America.
Except no, Ron, that's the problem. They get their more money by people subscribing to Disney Plus. That's why they make these shows. They make these shows because if you go and watch, let's say, Ms. Marvel in the theaters, instead of watching it on Disney Plus, you're less likely to now subscribe to Disney Plus. So yeah, they can get that $10 from you now, or they can get that $10 from you every month. So I think to them, I mean, if they're really smart about it, again, I don't want to say what they should be doing with their TV series because it's different from their original films. But yeah, I just think somebody like Bob Chapek will look at that as being counterproductive to what their goals are. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, what's next?
From Al Renshaw, did you all get to meet Chris's drunk personality at CinemaCon?
Little bit,
Al, get over it.
little bit, little bit here and there. No, I don't
Tiny moments.
think we got the full Denisio experience.
No,
Yeah.
no, just Aaron.
But Aaron probably got a little bit of it though.
I look forward to the Denisio show one day.
The
He's
Denisio
going to
show.
remain sectioned off from everyone else.
Severance. You got a severance going
Yes,
on with
I've got a
Denisio.
severance situation.
All right, what's next?
Seconds from Disaster. This is the one we read already.
Yep.
Glenn Mark again. Also, Rob will be proud that at every opportunity through Chris's class, I paraded my Lord of the Rings figures. LOL.
Nice.
Are they Hot Toy
Great
figures?
They would be.
I don't know if they-
Or does Lord of the Rings even have?
Hot Toys? Hot Toys did not make Lord of the Rings figures.
Did one of the other 1/6
Yes.
scale companies?
Yeah,
Okay.
a couple of them have, and the Gandalf one that came out recently is amazing.
All right, what's next?
From Rice Jones, sending in a $25 super chat.
Thank you, Reese.
People always seem to have an issue when they are used to a studio doing films in one style, then try something different.
I mean, but I think, to be fair, I think that's true for us in just about everything. Like, when our expectation, when we're going into something, whether it's you're about to sit into a chair and it looks to you, your brain perceives, oh, this chair looks really soft. And then you sit down and all of a sudden it's a really firm chair. That doesn't mean it's a bad chair, but all of a sudden that's very jarring. It's very discombobulating. So I think that, or whether it's drinking Kool-Aid that you accidentally put salt in, or whether it's a movie that you thought was going to feel one way or another. I think that's true for our human experience in general, that when it's something that was completely unexpected, we can react very differently to that. And I think that's just kind of a normal part of who and what we are. So you're absolutely right. All right, what's next?
From Galactic Champ, in early MCU reviews, I tend to see X will forever change the MCU. However, for Doctor Strange 2, which I expected the most to see the phrase since Infinity War, I can't seem to find anyone saying it about it. Perhaps spoilers?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I never had the thought that Doctor Strange was going to forever change the MCU. I thought it was going to be very pivotal. Like, the thing I thought it was going to be closing down the multiverse. And I was wrong about that. Kevin Feige said, actually, now we're going to really take advantage of multiverse moving forward. So, yeah, I'm not hearing from anybody saying this changes the MCU forever. Well, that's fine. I mean, we've got like 8 Marvel properties coming out in the next 24 months. So you can't all forever change and alter the course of it. So that's fine. That's neither good nor bad, I think. All right, what's next?
From Itzante, some people complain about MCU following a formula. If the audience score ends up low, can we finally say those people are wrong?
No. Look, here's the thing. formula does not equal success. It doesn't. I mean, that's one of the, if it were possible that there was some formula that somehow objectively, if you just add 2 parts this, 3 parts that, 1 part this, and a quarter teaspoon of that, then every movie would be an Oscar contender. Every movie would, because all you got to do is find that blueprint, find that formula, just follow it, and every movie is awesome, and every movie is great, but that's not what happens. There's a lot more to it. It's the same reason why 2 people can make a dish from the same recipe and ending up with 2 completely different tasting dishes. I don't believe at all there is a formula. I believe there are principles. I believe there are principles that Marvel has. For instance, one of the principles, Kevin Feige, every movie has to be an entry point. Great. There also seems to be a principle in Marvel films that, hey, listen, whenever things get too lighthearted, have something kind of heavy happen to balance it out. Whenever things start to feel heavy, make sure it inserts a laughable moment to balance things out. But these are principles, not formulas. And so I don't really honestly think, despite it's popular to say, I honestly don't think Marvel's ever really had a formula. But I don't know. What do you think about that, Rob?
Well, I mean, obviously, superhero origin stories kind of have built-in formulas, and they had to tell those stories. So the origin stories, whether it was Captain Marvel, whether it's Doctor Strange or Iron Man or Captain America, they had similar formulas and structure, but that's by definition. But then as they move, like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, there hasn't been anything like Captain America, the Winter Soldier. It was different. And Thor Ragnarok is as different from Captain America, the Winter Soldier, as anything else. I think the overall tapestry of the Marvel Cinematic Universe might use the same color palette, but the storytelling's been very different. Eternals was very different than, say, Shang-Chi. Yeah. And Shang-Chi also had a little bit of that origin tale in it. But on the other hand, it was about family. So that was different too. You never saw like a direct, I mean, maybe the Obadiah Stane conflict with Tony Stark in the first Iron Man was similar to what we saw with Shang-Chi and his dad. I mean, you could see that kind of thing. But I think that for the most part, the Marvel Universe has done a pretty good job, like you said, telling different stories.
Man, how good is that Obadiah Stane line, though? I say that all the time still.
Which one?
Tony Stark built this in a cave.
Oh, yeah.
With a box of scraps.
Jeff Bridges, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Bridges. All right, what's next?
From Leo Liang. Diesel is turning into Wesley Snipes on the set of Blade Trinity. # game day.
Well, no. No, that was a different. I mean, you're talking about one guy who literally physically assaulted like other people, and one who allegedly may be acting a little diva-ish. I mean, let's not compare those situations too much. They can be very different. All right, what's next?
All right, from Phil. I have a bad memory from the first Spider-Man, as my then girlfriend almost fainted during the Tobey shirtless scene after his transformation. Still cannot watch that scene to this day.
Oh, that's too bad.
Your sweet, sweet girlfriend.
Your sweet, sweet girlfriend. I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, I can go to a movie like Ryan Gosling is somebody that my wife Ann appreciates very much as an actor and as a man. She's got a thing for Canadians, I guess. So I can be sitting there watching, what was it called? Crazy Stupid Love. Mm-hmm. And we can get to the change room scene where he's standing naked. And she can sigh and have a little flutter. And I just think, she's still coming home with me.
Yep.
So it's all good. It's all good.
Doesn't matter where you get your appetite as long as you come home for dinner. Little Texas phrase for y'all.
Story
John
my dating
Campea.
life. Story
Bye,
my
John.
dating life.
Thank you for coming today.
What the what?
Aviation shot of the day. She's always aiming for it.
Wow.
What? What's the line?
It doesn't matter where you get your appetite as long as you come home for dinner. My family has terrible phrases.
Logan is a lucky man.
Logan in the chat. My wife, everyone.
Logan, you are
I
a
love you,
lucky
Logan.
boy.
I love you.
I gotta use that sometime. I gotta say that to Ann sometime.
She is gonna just be like, "Where did you learn that?"
Doesn't matter where you get your appetite from, as long as you come home for dinner. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
As long as that appetizer doesn't give you herpes, I guess it shouldn't be a problem.
The appetite doesn't include any eating, right?
Oh,
There is no dining out.
Not even a little hors d'oeuvres.
There are no amuse-bouches.
I mean, when you say appetizer, I thought
there
we're
is
full on.
nary an amuse-bouche.
As long
I
as
thought we're cleaning the plate.
appetizer doesn't give you herpes.
That's it.
Oh, so we just look at the appetizer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's kind of hard, man. Just look at the appetizer.
You don't get appetizers.
Whatever.
It comes in.
I'm
pints.
actually talking about food, which is funny.
getting one.
Okay, come on. What's next?
From Joel.
Oh,
Sweet baby.
Wait. You said appetite or appetizer?
Appetite.
Oh, I thought you said appetizer.
No.
Appetite
I'm not
doesn't
saying go around and
Oh,
like,
then my whole thing just totally
As
didn't
long
make
as the
sense at all.
appetizer doesn't give you herpes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what's
Okay.
next?
oh my God.
Let's get. Come on.
From Joel.
sense to me, Ray.
Professionals
It
here.
makes sense to me.
Pull it together.
Sweet baby Rays. I just finished House of M, Avengers Disassembled, and the new Avengers Illuminati. I loved them.
Yeah,
And I-
now you're prepared.
I have not read that one. The new Avengers Illuminati. I'm not familiar with that one. The other ones I've read, I didn't know that. What's the basic gist?
I if that's the new one, I mean, I'm thinking the old version. I haven't read the new. I don't have a new Avengers
Okay.
Illuminati.
All right. What's next?
But it sounded like he was talking about the classic.
Yeah,
From-
that's what I thought.
From Danny Price. Between Peaky Blinders and The Northman, this has been a good year for Anya Taylor-Joy. She's marvelous. Also, Taron Egerton for Bond.
Well, also don't forget that the Edgar Wright film that she did
Last
One
Night in Soho.
Last Night in Soho, which I personally didn't love. It's probably my least favorite of the Edgar Wright films. I love Edgar Wright, but it was still quite good and imaginative. A lot of people loved it. Then, of course, you had Queen's Gambit. She's got the new, not Dirty Harry, sorry, the Mad Max spin-off movie.
Furiosa.
I would love for her to be Dirty Harry.
She's got that coming
Go
out.
ahead.
I mean, this is right now. It's Anya Taylor-Joy's world. We're just living in it.
Yeah.
I mean, she's like really it right now. All right, what's next?
From Yeah. We are in DC era. Marvel had their run.
Okay. But to be fair, I've heard DC fans say that every year for the past 14 years. I'm just saying. And it continues to be Marvel's era. I mean, it is. Listen, you're talking to a guy who has loved every single DC movie other than The Fabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. That's the one DC movie I did not like. But besides that, I have liked every DC movie. But it continues to be Marvel's era. It just does right now until something significantly changes.
And DC had the Batman, which for the most part everyone loved. I loved it.
Love the Batman. Still my second favorite film of the year so far. All right, what's next?
From Andy, with graduation season coming up, I hope I graduate summa cum laude or valedictorian at the Campea classroom of 2022 with my Bachelor's of Science in Filthy.
I should actually create like diplomas to send out. Take the Campea College. Come to Campea College. Learn life improving skill.
I want to
if
see
you live-
the curriculum
if you
for the
live
Bachelor of
overseas, we won't-
Science and Filthy. What's
If you
that
live
course
overseas,
curriculum,
we won't do
John?
it.
We won't do it. All right, what's next?
Appetizers 101.
Ahmed E. Hey, crew, it's my 21st birthday.
Happy birthday, Ahmed.
Kicking off my
birthday.
day with you guys, watching Multiverse of Madness tonight, Moon Knight finale, and buying some hot toys. Much love from Sydney.
Yeah, nice.
There's a lot of Hot Toys love going on here today.
You know, for your 21st birthday, you should go to some great Sydney dive bar and play some cold chisel.
Yeah, I think you should
You'll
go
thank
someplace
me
where
later.
you can dance where there's a lot of writhing. Just tons of writhing.
Moist writhing.
Moist writhing.
No, the writhing should get you moist.
Ooh.
What's next?
Could someone put that curtain over Rob's face for a few minutes?
That also sounds like Rob's statement.
Oh. Wow.
Curtain riding with Rob.
All right, what's next? Come on, guys, we're running late.
Wow, I can't believe it. Spider-Man 20 years. Don't worry. I won't be making any jokes about a nerdy teenager hand-jizzing his enemies into submission.
I mean, that was, I mean, everybody understood the implied joke in that scene when that happened, but Oh, it's still one of the greatest scenes ever as well.
It's good.
But again, no, seriously, but Spider-Man being 20 years, it still feels. I mean, it doesn't feel like it just happened yesterday, but if you're just asking me on a given day, I'd say, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, but no, 20 years. Crazy. All right, what's next?
From Devin, hate that I saw the leaks. Hope there's more surprises.
You know what? Here's the thing. I saw the leaks too, and you know what? Okay. You know what? It's not going to take away 1 ounce of my reaction that I have in the theater. It's not going to take away one. As a matter of fact, okay, I know that happens, but now I'm going to get to see the context surrounding it and whatever. I'll still have the big response to it and everything like that. So I'm good.
I'm with you. You know, seeing the trailers, when we saw the first 20 minutes, we'd seen a lot of those scenes, and they were still. I wasn't like, oh, I've already seen this. It was wildly entertaining the way it was put together.
That is a good point, because you're right. Because maybe not the vast majority, but a whole lot of the first 20 minutes we saw are stuff that was already in the trailers. So we'd seen this stuff already, and it didn't take away one bit of our enjoyment.
Nope.
Seeing it now in the context of the movie. So yeah, I wouldn't worry
because there
about
was lines of dialogue, and people have a relate. They show up and come. You don't know what's going on, and it was so much fun.
What?
Don't say it. I know it's.
As long as the appetizers don't give you herpes, I can't get this out of my head.
It's going to be a t-shirt.
See, that was my dating life.
Herpes?
It doesn't matter where you get your appetizer, as long as you come home hungry, and as long as the appetizer doesn't give you herpes. Oh my God, I'm not going to get over this one for a while. Okay, what's next?
Welcome to the real world.
From Wendy Uncharted. Hi, John. French fan of your show here. It was awesome
thank
meeting you
you
in Vegas and chatting.
Oh, it's that Wendy.
Thank you so
Hello,
much
Wendy.
for your kindness. Love this channel.
You know, it was great. I was my last night in Vegas. I got a message from one of our viewers who lives in France that says they were visiting with their family in Los Angeles and Vegas, and they happened to be in Vegas at that time, and they just said, I would love to meet you. And I was like, you know what? I'm going. Number one, never meet fans alone. So I was about to go have dinner with
Especially French girls.
well, anybody really. I was about to go have dinner with our friend Cliff, and I thought, okay, because Wendy, okay, she sounds like she's probably a psychopath, but all right, I'll make sure it's in a public place with a good friend of mine close. But no, but Wendy came and met us at the Americano, because I was there with the thing, and she came with her delightful brother, and it was wonderful. She was delightful. She told me a little bit about her family, and her whole family was there on the trip. And we took a couple pictures together. We talked a little bit about some of the stuff we saw at CinemaCon. It was really great. It was a really, really good time. All right. And thank you, Wendy, for coming over to say hi when we were there. It's good to meet you. All right. What's next?
From Kyle D. Hey, John and crew. Do you think Wanda is attacking the Comertage in Multiverse of Madness? The new TV spot seemed to suggest this.
Did you say the Multiverse of Madness?
The Multiverse
Is this
of Madness.
become a Canadian thing?
Dang.
The
The Multiverse of
somebody
Madness.
makes that image. The Multiverse.
Dang it.
Have their red sashes,
Oh,
and they're the first
man.
line of defense.
A whole bunch of deadly do-rights.
Multiverse
Oh,
of
dang
Madness.
it.
Somebody's making that.
Yeah, there's that
out
poster.
there
We got
now.
the Axe of
Go,
Zaslav
Internet.
yesterday. Now we're getting the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes, I do. Yeah, look, I've thought for a long time that Wanda's the antagonist. Now, it could be this Wanda, that Wanda. There's going to be 1,700 Wandas because there's the multiverse now. It doesn't matter. But yes, I still believe at least a Wanda is the antagonist of the film. I don't know if I'm right. We'll find out. But yeah, I do. I think that's her, or a version of her attacking the place. All right, what's next?
From Kyle. Oh, from Elliot Cecil. John.
Hang on, sorry, phone. Go ahead. Kyle.
Isn't that the one I just read?
Kyle. So now we're up
Yeah,
to
so
Elliot.
Elliot.
This is being bumped on my
John, would you agree Richard Harrow is top 5 best TV characters, Boardwalk Empire?
Wait, Harrow is Moon Knight, or is it? Or we're talking about another Harrow from Boardwalk Empire? Look, I loved Boardwalk Empire.
I did too.
I can't remember any of the characters' names though. It's been years since I've watched the show. I mean, it's been many years. So which one is Harrow? I cannot remember. If you told me, oh, it's him, or no, it's his brother, or no, it's the kid that he kills, or no, it's
the guy with the mask on.
oh yeah, he's great. That guy went on to play Ben-Hur, and what's the actor's name again? They got the mask because he was in the Ben-Hur remake, and he was one of the 321 actors that was supposed to play the Crow. He's one of the actors supposed to play the Crow. Ray, can you look?
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Like who was the lead?
Joseph Farrow.
Is that no? I don't. That might be his name, but I don't.
Jack Houston.
Jack
Jack
Houston.
Houston.
That's
Right.
who it
Oh,
is.
Jack's
Jack
on it
Houston.
now, too.
Yeah, Jack Houston. After Boardwalk Empire, he was a hot name at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and he was kind of poised to really launch into his career, but he got bad advice from his agents, took the lead in a subpar Ben-Hur remake, and then nothing super notable since. But he is so good in Boardwalk Empire. He really, really is. All right, what's next?
From iCritic. So I just saw The Batman a third time, thanks to my parents. And as I was watching, I feel a better title would have been To the Batman, in reference to Riddler's letters. Agree? It seems poetic.
No, I honestly think The Batman was the best thing.
Yeah.
Because the movie and really this whole franchise is about the Batman. And I think, but listen, had the title been To the Batman, that would have made sense. I mean, that would have made good narrative sense as well. I don't think there would have been anything wrong with that. But I personally still believe The Batman was probably the best, especially as the first film in this new franchise. I think that was the right tone for it. But I like your title idea as well. All right, what's next?
From Tev. IGN said that Multiverse of Madness has dialogue as bad as Moonfall.
Who cares? I mean, no, and I don't mean this about IGN. I'm not trashing on IGN. What I mean by that is there's going to be, by the end of the day, 300 reviews out there. Who cares what one says? You know, I mean, that's the thing. A lot of people, they find one thing that one out of 100 or out of 1,000 say, and they goes, oh, well, this one critic of the Boston Tippy-Tacky newspaper said
Oh, that's a good one.
that this is the best. This is a serious outlet. Says that it's the greatest movie of all time. Well, okay, that's one. Great. So, but, you know, I don't really care if one outlet, whether it's IGN or the Hollywood Reporter, okay, one says something like that. Okay, but what's the majority of them saying? What is the overall impression of it? And that's the thing I pay more attention to than any one cherry picking out one outlet who says one thing. It doesn't really matter. All right, what's next?
From Calvin. Reports said Vin forgot his lines when he arrived on set. Wonder if he forgot them for Guardians. Ha ha ha.
See, it's funny because he only has one line in Guardians. I am line. Yeah,
Look at mine.
I like that. Well said. Okay, kudos to you for that one. All right, what's next?
From Adrian, with the mixed reactions to Multiverse of Madness, will Marvel move off the multiverse or continue it? Love the show.
Okay, Adrian, your definition of mixed and mine are two very different things. 80% is not mixed. All right? Let's agree on that. 80% is not mixed. 80% is overwhelmingly positive. All right? Now, if you want to say, but there are a couple of negative ones, okay, then 99% is mixed. Yeah, 80% is not mixed. So, let's see this movie. Let's see what we think about it. Let's see how it does financially, because if this movie makes $1 billion, winning cures everything. It doesn't matter. And just to be very clear, the reactions are not mixed. They are heavily positive. Heavily positive. This thing is closer to 100% than it is to 50%. So if it gets down to 60%, 61%, 59%, then we can start talking about the reactions being mixed. And 80% is not the time to be talking about them being mixed. At least that's my opinion on that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
From Ben Berkowitz, I think it's interesting how no reviews are mentioning the post-credit scenes, just how it's a Doctor Strange-centric story. I'm very excited by this.
You know what? Because there have been a couple of times that a post-credit scene has been the best part of a movie. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
I actually like the fact that all I hear people talking about is the movie itself. Look, post-credit scenes are fine. They're post-credit scenes. We can get a big kick out of them, but ultimately they really don't have much to do with the movie itself, so that's fine. So I'm actually kind of encouraged that we're hearing people talking about the content of the film than they are about post-credit scenes. So anyway, that's just me though. And I say that as somebody who really looks forward to post-credit scenes. All right, what's next?
From Dr. Bright, how exactly do online petitions work? How does having a collection of random signatures make for a change in a film?
They don't.
About 2 million people have signed for Amber Heard to be taken out of Aquaman 2. Thoughts?
You know my thoughts on this. Online petitions are stupid, particularly when it comes to movies. Online petitions are useless and stupid and nothing more than vanity projects. No studio pays any attention to online petitions. And I say that about things that I heavily agree with and heavily disagree with. No studio gives 2 squirts of urine about what's an online petition. People just like to think they make themselves feel good. Well, here's my voice. And that's fine for real world issues, but no studio pays any attention whatsoever to any online petitions at all. All right, what's next?
From Brandon. Hey, Campea crew. Just showing support for the channel.
Thank you so much, Brandon. We at the Multiverse of Madness appreciate your support.
There's the name.
There it is. That's the new name of the show.
That's the name of the show.
The Multiverse of
The
Madness.
Multiverse of Madness with our hyperbolic chamber. I'm going to just throw them all together.
Hyperbolic chamber.
That was my thing. All right, what's next?
All right, from Jermaine King. John, last night's show was great. It has a waiting on election results feel to it. Thank you for the new show idea.
Well, this was actually our second time doing Reaction Watch. Ray and I we did Ticket Watch for the Spider-Man tickets going on sale, and then we did Reaction Watch for Spider-Man when the first reactions were coming out. And so we decided to do it again last night. It was a lot of, I couldn't have Ray there with me because Ray was trying to get caught up on Two Towers for our movie club today. So I had to do it solo, but it was a lot of fun last night. Thank you so much for joining us for that, man. I appreciate that. All right, what's next?
All right, from 2. Hey, John, you mentioned poker last week, so I have to ask what you think about Rounders from 1999. Best poker movie. Anyone else on the show see it? Thanks.
Don't splash the pot. I really like Rounders, but my favorite poker movie, and I'm going to freeze on the name of it, but it stars Woody Harrelson and Werner Herzog is in it as well as cameos from a lot of the top poker players in the world. And the name of the movie is the name of the hotel. And anybody in the live chat, if you guys can remember, because I always forget the name of it, but it is my favorite poker movie. And
The Grand.
What's it called?
The Grand?
The Grand. Thank you. The Grand. And it basically, a wealthy hotel owner in Vegas passes away. And he basically says, we're going to hold this tournament. It's a winner take all. Whoever wins the tournament gets the Grand, gets the hotel, right? So all these big poker players come around from everywhere. And all I will ever remember from this movie most, and Woody Harrelson's the main guy, but Werner Herzog, legendary, iconic documentary filmmaker, and he's in Mandalorian. Infamous, known most, of course, for doing a live interview with the BBC and getting shot, literally being shot while doing the interview and going, oh, I've been shot. Anyway, and then he goes on with the interview while everybody else is freaking out. He's, oh, I've been shot, blah, blah, blah. And he just keeps on going. Anyway, so he's in this movie where he pays his poker player. He shows up at the hotel for the tournament with 18 crates of different animals, cats and rabbits and whatever. And every time they go to, because it's done in a fake mockumentary style as well, whenever they go to him, he's always got an animal and he's petting the animal. He goes, I get my energy from one place. Every day, I must kill one living thing with my bare hands. And he says he's holding and petting this rabbit. Like, oh my God. Werner Herzog is the man. I just want to say that, but that is my all-time favorite poker movie. All right, what's next?
When we're hanging out with Logan, make him do his Werner Herzog impression.
Oh, I would love to hear
it.
that.
All right, from Fredo, some support, and from Jose Santiago support. So thank you so much, you guys. And that's it.
And that does it, guys, for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making this show part of your day, our second episode in the new studio.
Yay.
Wow.
So thank you so much for that, guys. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in super chats. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys so very much for your support. I want to thank the people sitting in the room with me. First of all, right here, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people find you in your online dating profile?
Well, you can now find me on TikTok at the Post Geek Singularity.
Tinder. You can find me on Tinder.
Look me up, Post Geek Singularity. Check it out. I've been dropping not anything about my
dance moves.
dating life there. No. You can find me on Twitter, Burnett RM. Find me on Instagram at RM Burnett, or find me on the Post Geek Singularity YouTube page.
And right beside him, of course, is Chris Carr. Chris, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me apologizing to my husband Logan about that dinner joke. And you can find me on socials at actor Chris Carr. Carr with 2 R's, Chris with a K.
Ray Ora's over here. Ray, where can people find you?
Ray Ora with a 0. I have nothing.
And he's not comfortable yet having a camera or mic because he's trying to get used to operating the thing. But fact checker Jonathan's back there. Jonathan Boyko. Thank you to all you guys for being here. Don't forget, Movie Club is today at 3:30 p.m. We're going to be talking about the second film in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers today at 3:30. Come on by and join us for that. Don't forget that the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. And of course, also tomorrow afternoon, we have our Moon Knight open spoiler discussion now that we're back. Guys, that'll do it for us for today. Thanks a lot for being here. My name's John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.